the Ghoul Bowl, or possibly Nightmare on Bluff Street. It is a beautiful night here in Pittsburgh on the campus of Duquesne University, where the Iona Gales have come calling in this key Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, or MAC, matchup. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and once again, we here on The Deuce are bringing you another first, the first ever live national telecast of a MAC football game. Take a look at the conference standings with just 2 games remaining. These 2 teams here are locked up in a tie for third spot, both with 2-2 records. Marist, recently upset last weekend by Georgetown, now opens up a possible shot for one of these schools at the top spot. Joining me as always, our expert analyst, Mike Mayock. And Mike, with these 2 teams tied for third spot, how critical is tonight's game?
Well, both these clubs came into this season with incredibly high expectations. Iona was the defending champ from last year, and Duquesne won their first 4 games before dropping their next 3. So what happens, Jerry, is whoever loses tonight is effectively out of the MAC race.
Now, this matchup tonight, the key matchup here is an explosive offense from Iona. That's the run and shoot against the stingiest defense in the conference with Duquesne. Now, you're talking about Iona. Their catalyst is their quarterback.
Tom Prudien was the 1993 MAC Player of the Year. He's already thrown for 2,000 yards in just 6 games this year. And what I like about this kid is in his 3rd year as a starter, he has really mastered the run and shoot offense.
He has a whole stable of wide receivers to throw to, but his favorite target is his senior record-setting partner, Tim Silo.
Tim Silo is their big play wide receiver. He's got legitimate 4.5 speed. He averages about 18 yards a catch. And bottom line, he's the guy that they go to if they want to break open this football game.
Well, we told you Duquesne had the best pass defense in the conference, and one of the reasons is Morrow Bunce, the cornerback.
Morrow Bunce is the best cover guy for Duquesne, and we're going to see him lined up on Silo all game. And this matchup will be really interesting, especially in blitz situations, because in blitz situations, the coaches have told me it will be Bunce on Silo the entire football game.
What a matchup. If you like offense, folks, you want to stay tuned. We're going to have some highlights and some fireworks here on Halloween night. When we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineups and have the opening kickoff from right here at Duquesne University right after this.
She'll try to drown you.
Welcome you back to Arthur J. Rooney Field here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the campus of Duquesne University. 40-acre hilltop campus overlooking the Monongahela River and, of course, the south side of Pittsburgh. Getting set for this key Division I AA game. This is a 1AA conference, the MAC conference. You see the captains now meeting at midfield, getting set for the coin toss. We might mention this is a conference that's non-scholarship. There are no athletic scholarships, much like in the Ivy League and the Patriot League. It is need-based only. Coin toss being called by Iona, and you pretty much got to believe that with their high-powered offense, if Iona would win the toss, they would receive, and they did not win, as the Dukes of Duquesne will get the ball for the first time. We get set for a key Division I AA action on a brand new football field. The field is exactly a year and 1 day old, dedicated on October 30th of a year ago. And here come the Dukes. As a look at the head coach, Harold Crocker from Iona College in his 10th year, the 1993 MAC Coach of the Year. Directed the Gales to the inaugural MAC championship. They were 9-2 overall last year, 5-0 and unbeaten in MAC conference play. And here's a look at the head man for Duquesne, Greg Gattuso. In his 2nd year, 32 years of age, native of Pittsburgh South Hills. There's his career coaching record, 8-9. Only his 2nd year. Currently, they stand at 4-3 overall.
You know, Jerry, we should clarify with Crocker's record. He took over a program that was fallen into some very difficult times. He's actually 36-19-1 over the last 16 years, excuse me, the last 6 years, because he started out 0-22 his first 2 seasons.
That's a good point. You see their last week's games actually 9 days ago, both teams going down to defeat. Wagner using a ball control offense to keep that high-powered Iona offense off the field. And, of course, Duquesne, penalties and turnovers were their Achilles heel in their loss a week ago at Siena. Earlier today, it had been raining most of the afternoon, Mike, and a lot of concern about the weather. Temperature right now, 59 degrees, 100% humidity. The forecast for scattered showers, but the rains have moved away. There's a slight breeze, which up here on the bluffs is considered to be ever so slight, because it can be horrendous up here. You can open an umbrella and do your Mary Poppins imitation in a hurry.
Well, I talked to both coaches about the weather today, and Harold Crocker, Iona's coach, said he didn't care what it was like. They're going to throw the ball. The run and shoot will throw the football. And then when I talked to Gattuso, he said, we just want to keep their quarterback cold and wet on the sideline. That is the game plan.
And getting set to kick off, there is Crocker as he gets set to see if his Iona Gales can pull off what many would consider to be the upset here tonight, playing at Duquesne's campus. Well, told you it's Arthur J. Rooney Field. There's Gattuso.
He looks like a nose guard, doesn't he?
I tell you. Now, he was a member of the 1983 Penn State 1982 Nittany Lion National Championship team, starting nose guard, and he could probably still play. He looks, he's 6'3", 320 pounds.
He's so big, he two gaps just by alignment.
Getting set to kick off. Mark Fenton, senior from Iona, puts the ball in the air, and it'll go down and bobbled momentarily by Brian Cornell. And he will reverse his field up to the 20-yard line, 22, and finally brought down up near the 25. An 11-yard return by Brian Cornell, the freshman. Frank Sansone making the tackle. Take a look at the Duquesne offense up front. Sean Curran is their senior captain out of Danbury, Connecticut, the left guard. He is the most ferocious lineman they have. They will run toward Curran and Carlos Rivera. We'll tell you more about him later. Running backs, Tim Gribble, Bill Green, and Dave Loya, a freshman quarterback. There is Loya over center, 1st and 10. To give this time off the left side, and that's Bill Green, the running back. Defensively, take a look at the Iona Gales, and they have struggled defensively this year, particularly up front. Injuries have been a major problem for the Iona football team. Ben Santalia, preseason Defensive Player of the Year in the MAC Conference out of Yonkers, New York. He's a defensive end, number 90. He is one to watch. Linebackers, Dan Bergen. And there we told you about Chris Lamotta, Whitney Epps, and Angelo Brown back in the secondary. 2nd and 9 to give inside this time, and he's got a hole up over the 35-yard line. Once again, that is running back Bill Green. He is the leading rusher, gaining 12 yards. And Foley, senior linebacker out of West Nyack, New York, in to make the stop.
Jerry, I think what we're going to see right now, the burst through the middle. Good job by Billy Green in the offensive front, but that's exactly what Duquesne wants to do tonight. Move the chains on the ground and keep that high-powered Iona offense on the sideline.
Line of scrimmage at 38-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Dukes. Their first down of the evening. I formation. This time the give once again to Green off the left side. Over the 50, 45, 40. Tries to cut it back and will be chased out of bounds inside the 40-yard line. They mark him down about the 38. And linebacker Dan Bergen, the freshman, bringing him down after a 24-yard gain.
Good block here by the I-back, Timmy Gribble. The fullback gets the block on the corner, allows Green to get to the sideline. You're going to see him run through an arm tackle right there by Angelo Brown, allowing him to get the big gain down the sideline.
We talked about the Iona offense, but we never mentioned the fact that Duquesne is a very balanced attack, both running and passing, as they move the ball down the field. Iona has had their problems this year defensively. Once again, the Green give inside to Green, and he is stacked up at the middle by Ben Santalia. We told you he's one of the captains. He was a man to watch. Preseason MAC Defensive Player of the Year, making the tackle.
Interesting matchup there also, Jerry, between Santalia, the best defensive lineman, and Carlos Rivera, the best offensive lineman for Duquesne. And we'll try and keep an eye on that one for you tonight.
Bill Green comes out after 4 carries for 40 yards. He's replaced in the backfield by Brian Cornell and Tim Gribble, the split backs. 2nd and 8. Loya back to pass. First one of the evening. He's being rushed, and there is Santalia. What a ferocious pass rusher he is, and gets the first sack of the evening.
Loya stopped in the backfield by number 90, Ben Santalia.
That was Ben Santalia with the tackle on the sack.
9 yards, 3rd
See him from the top of your screen working on Rivera. There's the matchup we talked about. He took an inside technique. They tried to double him, and Loya runs right into him. Very quick. That's why he's such a dominating pass rusher. He's usually quicker than the offensive lineman against him.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 19 for the Dukes. 3rd and 19 for the Dukes. Line of scrimmage back at the 47-yard line. Loya back to pass, looking downfield. He has a receiver deep and can't quite hang on. Ball intended for Mark Neely, who is the leading receiver, the sophomore out of Pennsylvania.
And Angelo Brown was beat a little bit on that play. He had separation. Mark Neely separated away from Brown. The ball is underthrown, allowing Angelo Brown to get it back in and make the defensive play. Good job of recovery by Angelo Brown.
That'll set up a punting situation. Bruce Nelson, sophomore punter out of Murraysville, Pennsylvania. And Timmy Silo and Eric Spezio back to receive the punt. Silo, the wide receiver we told you about, and Spezio, he is special. You'll see what we mean in just a moment. Not a very good kick for Nelson toward the sidelines, and, well, it turns out to be a pretty good kick just inside the 20-yard line. I didn't think it was going to make it all the way down to the 20-yard line, but indeed it does. 28-yard punt by Bruce Nelson. So early in the first quarter, no score here at Rooney Field. Back at Rooney Field, 11:43 remaining in the first quarter, and the rains, the skies have opened up, and it is just pouring here as Iona gets the ball for the first time on offense. We told you they have the run and shoot. Well, it's going to be hard to run and certainly a little bit difficult to shoot. There is their quarterback, Tom Pruden. Tom Pruden ranked 3rd in total offense in Division I AA nationally. Back to pass. His first pass slipped through the fingers. The intended receiver.
Number 10, Tom Prudian's pass.
Take a look at the offense for the Iona. Tim Byer. Emery Moody, the right guard, is their co-captain out of Mount Vernon, New York. Look at their offensive line. And that pass a moment ago intended for number 25, who is actually starting in place of McCullough. That's Billy DeVito. You're going to see this shotgun formation and a hurry-up, no huddle as they fake play action, and now Pruden will scramble up over the 25, 30, 35, and is finally shoved out of bounds by Damon Berry, the strong safety, after a gain of 15 yards.
Forced out of bounds by number 15, Damon Berry.
Mike, you don't get much of a break when you watch this Iona offense. They have a couple of different options to run.
Here it is. They're just going to fake draw, and this is where you see what kind of athlete Pruden is. He makes the break to the outside. He's got 4.6 speed. He picks up 15 yards, and we've got to hurry here because this is a no-huddle offense, Jerry, and that first huddle coming out that we saw after the kickoff might be the last one we'll see today.
Run and shoot, 4 wide receivers, single setback, and that is Billy DeVito. Now, Rich McCullough is the normal starter, and he is injured tonight. Once again, the pass upfield intended for Dan Green, the wide receiver, and overthrown. Damon Berry in on the coverage.
Dan Green is their possession-type receiver. He's the guy that works underneath like a tight end would if they had a tight end in this offense. He'll work anywhere from 5 to 10 yards down the field.
Take a look at defensively. Mike Orsi is the most experienced defensive lineman. John Wojciechowski has been out for about 3 or 4 games. Finally coming back tonight from injury. Will play. He's, of course, a defensive end. Linebackers, Duffy Smith and Neckerman. Neckerman slightly dinged up. Ken Smith, the leading tackler on the team. Inside pass and hit right at the line of scrimmage is Billy DeVito. Gain of maybe a yard.
The 2 middle guys there for Duquesne did the job they're supposed to do. That's Mike Orsi and Ricky Jordan, the 2 defensive tackles. They read screen, they stayed in on it, and there's a loss of a yard on the play.
That'll bring up 3rd and slightly over 10 yards for Iona. Not what you expected to see from one of the most high-powered offenses in the country, and currently leading the conference in passing. Flag on the play.
If you can, get me an ISO shot of the defensive backfield when the offense goes in motion. I did.
Illegal procedure against Iona, 5-yard penalty.
Legal procedure will Push them back 5 more yards and make it a 3rd and 15. 3rd and 15 for Iona. Line of scrimmage now back on their own 30-yard line. Split receivers. Top of your screen is Silo. Prudian back to pass. Has the receiver open over the middle and can't get the ball to Silo. Double coverage back there. Damon Berry and Paul Duffy, the linebacker, both involved with trying to cover Silo. That'll bring up a punting situation for the Gales of Iona.
Prudian back to punt for Iona. Number 24.
Now Prudian is the punter as well, the quarterback, averaging 33.9 yards a kick. Longest 49 yards earlier in the year. And pretty good kick from Prudian. No fair catch at all by Brian Cornell, and he is up over the 40-yard line.
Number 24, Brian Cornell on the return. Stop for Duquesne.
Freshman Yogs Borisat making the stop on Cornell. 36-yard punt, a 6-yard return by the freshman Brian Cornell.
Cornell's an interesting kid. He's their backup free safety, their backup fullback. He snaps on punts. The kid does a little bit of everything for this team. Punt returner, kickoff returner. Great athlete for only being a freshman.
Well, you expected to see a lot of offense out of Iona, but thus far the only offense we've seen has come from Duquesne as they had driven down the field into Iona territory. This time the gift to Billy Green, and he is met in his tracks by Ben Santalia. Now you know why he was the preseason Defensive Player of the Year for the conference.
From the top of your screen, watch this hit on Billy Green. Bang! Green barely has the football before Santalia is all over him. And I don't know if you heard the audio after this, but he was screaming, "I'm on fire." And indeed he is.
Santalia, 6 foot, 230 pounds, out of Yonkers, New York. 2nd and 13 after a loss of 3 on the first down. Back to pass, Loya looking over the middle and overthrows the intended receiver, Jim Boomer, his tight end.
That's a situation where a young quarterback, a freshman, had some happy feet there. He threw off his back feet, but he had plenty of time. And that's where you see Vince Santalia praying on his mind a little bit. He should have just stepped up, delivered the ball. He had plenty of time to hit the open receiver.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 13. Split backs are Green and Gribble. Dave Loya, the freshman, once again back to pass. Looking downfield toward Mark Neely. Has a receiver, and Neely apparently being interfered with. Angelo Brown on the coverage, and that will draw the flag.
You know, Jerry, I happened to be ISOing on Brown that time on his coverage on Neely. And what he does, that's twice he stayed in his back pedal much too long. They're just running a quick, here's an end zone look at it. Brown gets out of his back pedal late. And he's all over. Being a former defensive back, I usually don't like to agree with the pass interference calls, but that time I'm afraid I have to.
No argument there.
Check that. Check that. They're bringing it back the other way. They're going to call an offensive pass interference.
They're going to call Neely for pushing off. Oh, they're going to mark it off.
Okay.
Pass interference in college is 15 yards and an automatic first down.
Defensive pass interference, first down.
Pass interference.
Saw them walking the other way, and I thought, boy, they got to be calling this offensive, and I didn't see it.
You know, actually, in the NFL, it would be at the spot of the foul. Here in college, it's 15 yards, an automatic first down, which means late in the game, the best thing you can do is grab a receiver in the end zone.
That's exactly right.
1st and 10 for the Dukes of Duquesne. Give this time once again to Bill Green. And he is sacked up the line of scrimmage, maybe a half a yard. And Foley, the linebacker, senior out of West Nyack, New York.
Dan Foley is their strong safety. They call him an outside linebacker or a rover sometimes, but he's going to blitz about 50% of the time. What Coach told me is they're going to have at least 8 men up on the line of scrimmage, and that will include Foley as an outside linebacker. 2nd and 9 after a gain of a yard.
Bill Green out, Brian Cornell in at the tailback position. And they will give the ball to Cornell, the freshman. And he's got some speed. He turns the corner down about over the 45-yard line, and he will be bounced down. They will spot it about the 43. Gain of a couple.
key block there will be by fullback Timmy Gribble. When you're in the I formation and you're going to run sprint draw like this, 42 Gribble gets the cut block on Danny Bergen right there, and that allows Brian Cornell to get to the corner.
Good stop by Brendan Frisch, the linebacker, playing in place of Dennis Parker, who was their leading tackler. As if the Gales didn't have enough trouble on defense, they lost their leading tackler, Parker, for tonight's game with a separated shoulder, right shoulder, so they will start the freshman at middle linebacker, just making the stop. 3rd and 6. Loya has a receiver and nearly picked off. Good coverage by Angelo Brown, who nearly has an interception.
That was a good break on the football by Brown, but the ball was delivered much too late by freshman quarterback Loya. The out cut was made. It had been determined that they were going to throw the ball right to the first down marker. It came much too late. That ball should have been delivered earlier on the break. It allows Brown the time to make the break on the ball right there, and almost a good interception.
Bruce Nelson back to punt, standing about his own 43-yard line. And deep to receive will be Spezio and Silo. Nelson gets a pretty good kickoff into the wind. Silo takes it inside his 15 and is immediately wrapped up at about the 14-yard line. Bill Sepich, defensive back, makes the stop. Still early in the first quarter here at Rooney Athletic Field. No score between Duquesne and Iona. Back in a moment.
What is this? This is totally cool. Whoa.
Q2, all you folks enjoying what they have billed as the Ghoul Bowl, or Nightmare on Bluff Street. Bluff Street here is the street running by the Arthur J. Rooney Field, athletic field. And a lot of the students here on Duquesne University's campus enjoying this national telecast. 1st and 10 for Iona, ball on their own 13-yard line after a 29-yard punt. Having trouble handling the snap is Prudian, and he will tuck it and run. Barely getting back to the line of scrimmage. Paul Duffy making the stop. We told you there was a big difference in these two schools. One school leading the conference in offense and passing, the other one leading in pass defense.
And when you talk to both coaches, they obviously had different opinions on tonight's weather. Coach Cattuso was praying for a downpour. Coach Crocker was just the opposite.
There's Coach Crocker with his rain slicker on. Prudian able to get a yard out of that mishandling of the snap. Brings up a 2nd and 9, and he will hand the ball off inside in a rare running play. That is Billy DeVito. And DeVito is met by Ken Smith, the leading tackler for the Dukes.
Good trap block right here by their best blocker. You can see the pick right there. Emery Moody with the block. That allows open field, and watch the hit from the inside out. He's going to break off that one, and there comes the hit inside out by number 30, Kenny Smith.
No gain. That'll bring up 3rd and 9 deep in their own territory. And Prudian back to pass, has a receiver, now has to scramble, will dump it off to DeVito, and he can't quite hang on. That'll bring up a punting situation for the Gales.
Jerry, this Iona offense is out of sync a little bit. I think Prudian's about 1 for 5 at this point. He doesn't have any yards, and I don't see any kind of synchronization with the offense.
Gotta wonder how much the nerves may have come into play. We told you this is the first ever national telecast of a MAC Football League game.
I think it's a combination of the nerves and the weather right now. I think they just need to settle down and try to get into a rhythm.
Prudian's punt. Brian Cornell will wave for the fair catch and make the catch on the Iona 43-yard line.
Cornell fields Prudian's punt, calls for a fair
49-yard
catch
punt.
in the Iona.
Lots of football action coming your way on NFL Sunday night. Raiders and Chiefs coming your way from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann will be on hand. That's Sunday, November 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live on ESPN. Raiders and Chiefs. Both teams winning yesterday. Raiders are 4-4, and the Chiefs are 5-3. Give off the left side. Joe Rosado is the running back. Rosado listed as a wide receiver.
Joe Rosado on the carry.
It was an old wing T play there. They got the double wing set and ran the motion, handing off to Rosado on a little power sweep.
Gain of 2 yards.
Watch the motion from the right of your screen. key block again by the fullback, number 42, Gribble, but he's only going to pick up 3 or 4 yards.
Actually, they'll mark it back as a 2-yard gain, so it'll be 2nd and 8 for the Dukes. Line of scrimmage, the 41-yard line. Give to Cornell, and he is tagged, runs into his own blocker at the line of scrimmage, spins around, and will not be able to elude the grasp of a host of Iona tacklers.
Number 24, Brian Cornell.
So both offenses struggling here early on in the first quarter.
So far, it's more a battle for field position and playing on the short field than the offensive fireworks we expected. But the game really is going according to Duquesne's script at this point, Jerry. If they'd like to do anything, just continue to run the clock. We're down to almost 5 minutes left in the first quarter, and Prudian hasn't done anything.
3rd and 8 from the 41-yard line. Loya back to pass, and he throws the ball, way overthrows the intended receiver, his tight end, Jim Boomer. Now, he had Mark Neely open across the middle.
Neely ran a quick post. Outside receiver ran a quick post out, and the inside receiver, the tight end, came in. You can see to the right of your screen, the post comes open, but Loya chooses to throw the flat route. Number 28, Dan Foley, was all over it.
So Loya is 0 for 4 in passing. Punting situation for the Dukes. Bruce Nelson back to kick. Deep to receive are Spezio and Silo standing back on their own 10-yard line. And Silo calls for the fair catch this time and will make the catch right at the 10-yard line. 31-yard kick by Bruce Nelson.
So far, Iona's had no field position to speak of. They've been back inside their 20-yard line. It's very difficult to run the run and shoot back in the shadow of your own end zone. They need to get some field position.
There's the average drive start in their own 14-yard line. Duquesne back in its own 40. The Iona offense, we told you, leading the MAC in passing, averaging over 24 points a game. And they are yet to get on track. This time they get a completion up, and he leaps over the 20-yard line. That is Tim Silo, most productive receiver.
Now that looked a little bit more like the run and shoot. Trips to the wide side of the field, as you can see. Silo's back to the short side. They work one-on-one, knowing that's the coverage they have, and you just take what the defense will give you.
No huddle offense, gain of 11. That'll be a first down. Prudian back to pass once again, and will dump it off this time to number 36, Rich McCullough. And he is the running back. We were told we might not see McCullough. He had a bone chip in his left elbow against Wagner, and his right elbow, we should say, against Wagner, and he was expected not to see action early on in tonight's game.
He's a very productive guy. He's got 20 catches already this season out of the backfield.
Gain of 9, 2nd and 1. Prudian once again has a receiver, Spezio, over the middle, and he cannot quite hold on up near the 45-yard line.
But they're starting to get in sync now. They're starting to pick up and take what the defense will give them. That's a catch that Spezio, the freshman, usually will make.
Incomplete. 3rd down.
I think you'll start to see this offense pick up in efficiency at this point, Jerry. Now, here's where you don't have a tight end. It hurts you a little bit. It's 3rd and 1.
Rich McCullough, lone back, and they will throw the ball out. This time it is Silo. He has the first down, dances over the 40, 45 to the 50, and 2nd and 3rd efforts will get him into Duquesne territory as Mike Crocker, the linebacker, finally chases him down along with Mike Civitello down around the Duquesne 48.
3rd and 1, quick shot right there on the slant. Makes a nice move. He wants a face mask right there. Doesn't get it. Had a little discussion with the ref, but I'll tell you what, at 6 feet, 150, tough kid there, Timmy Silo.
And they will give him a face mask, apparently. They are going to, the referee just came over and has made the call. We didn't see the flag come down initially.
I think worst case, if they do throw that, it's just got to be the 5-yard variety. I don't think it can be the 15-yard intentional because it just glanced across and he let go.
Incidental face mask.
Exactly.
Face mask, defense, first down.
So 22-yard gain on the pass play, plus the 5 yards on the face mask. Puts the line of scrimmage down on the 43-yard line.
Now that they've got field position, you're going to see them open it up a little bit more. Trips to the field.
Prudian back to pass, looks deep, has the receiver and underthrows Silo, who had gotten behind the coverage. Morrow Mons, Silo had done the out pattern and seemed to have beaten Mons.
That's the complementary route to the two routes Silo just ran previously. He ran two hitches. Watch the hitch right there at the 40-yard line. Mons jumps it, gets a shot on him right there, which is legal in college football, but the ball's not thrown up there. Good job by the safety to get over.
Had him open. Prudian couldn't get the ball to him. And the completion this time to Spezio, Eric Spezio. Freshman from Staten Island, New York, makes the catch for a 7-yard gain. That'll bring up a 3rd down situation.
And these guys don't even get a chance to catch their breath. Look at them. Going to line up. This is the slowest of the 3 modes of no-huddle offense Iona has. You'll see them up-tempo as the game goes along.
Third and short, and whoa, hello. What a great lick by Morrow Mons. You think he was a little bit embarrassed about missing the coverage a moment ago? Rich McCullough was the running back who caught that ball and wishes he had never seen it.
A little fake pass, and it goes out to number 89, Danny Green, and a great read there by Mons. And Mons at 5'7", 165 delivers some shock.
Danny Green says, where did he come from? Mons, the left cornerback. Now Prudian back, the pooch kick, trying to get it to roll inside the 20-yard line, hits on the 20, rolls down to about the 17. And a dangerous move by the number 24, touching the football down there. That, of course, Brian Cornell. Time running out in the first quarter here at Arthur J. Rooney Field. Still no score. Back with more Duquesne, Iona right after this. Are you at University? Take a look at the Dukes band. They are weathering the storm here. It has been a storm for most of the afternoon, although the rains have stopped momentarily. Duquesne ball, 1st and 10. Line of scrimmage, their own 17-yard line. They give to Cornell up over the 25. Freshman running back.
Number 24, Brian Cornell.
Coach Gattuso told me before the game they were going to work this kid more and more. They really like him as a freshman. He makes a good cut at the line of scrimmage to get into the secondary. And when you play an 8-man front, there's a real danger that if you get a seam at the line of scrimmage, you can go a long way.
8 of 8. Take a look at the total yards. Iona, even though they haven't mustered much offense, has 60 yards to Duquesne's 40. 2nd and 2. Loya back to pass. Inside screen to Neely, and he's over the 30, 35, breaks the tackle, and nears midfield until he is finally chased down by Chris LaMotta, the free safety. And if LaMotta doesn't get him, it is touchdown.
And that's really a well-conceived play. They're going to run off the linebackers in secondary to the right of your screen deep, and then they come underneath with the inside screen to Neely. And once you get Neely in the open field, he's a 4'5", 40 guy, makes a good cut, breaks the tackle, and he'll go a long way before you bring him down. He's a big play wide receiver. Both Neely and Joe Rosato, his other wide receiver, they can both make the big play.
Gain of 23 by Duquesne. Neely's the man who had a 73-yard touchdown pass last year against St. Francis. This time the give inside to Cornell. He's up over the 50-yard line, down to about the 48.
Number 24, Brian Cornell.
Duquesne's got it going the way they want now. You pick up 3, 4, 5 yards on 1st down on the run. It gives you the run-pass option on 2nd down, the advantageous down and distance position. At this point, it's advantage Duquesne.
2nd and 6, gain of 4 on the run by the freshman Brian Cornell. Split backs. They fake the ball to the fullback Dibble and throw it out to the tailback, Bill Green. Green making the reception down inside the 45-yard line. Dan Foley there on the coverage.
Okay, here's the type of play I think they've got all night if they wanted. It's an 8-man front. You go with play action to freeze the linebackers. You can see 28 Foley chasing the play. That's his coverage. But he's been so aggressive on the run defense, I think that'll be there all night.
Bill Green for the season, 23 receptions, 160 yards, averaging about 7 yards a catch. He has been the workhorse here tonight, running the ball and catching it for the Dukes. time they give the ball to the freshman Cordell, down to about the 40-yard line.
You know they're coming after you when they go double tight end, split back. They're only doing that for one reason, and that's to run the football right at this Iona group.
And that'll be it for the first quarter. No score here at Art Rooney Athletic Field on the campus of Duquesne University. Iona and Duquesne locked up at 0-0. Back in just a moment. He's going to dampen their enthusiasm one bit here. Some of the almost 9,000 students on the Duquesne University campus enjoying our live coverage of Division I AA college football.
It's like a nun of mine back at Our Lady of Lourdes.
And this time the handoff again to Bill Green, and he breaks the tackle down to the 20-yard line, or close to 20. And Chris LaManna saves the touchdown, the free safety, the freshman out of Yonkers, New York. 20-yard gain for Green.
Sprint draw out of the eye, and this is what happens when you have a good eye tailback. In sprint draw, he can pick his hole. He does a great job cutting back across the green, and only freshman defensive back Chris LaManna stops the touchdown.
Bill Green now tallying the yards, his 7th carry, 58 yards rushing. That young man, the junior out of Pittsburgh. And Matt Starkin at wide receiver, near side. They will give the ball this time to the up back. Cordell breaks the tackle, and he is nailed at the 15-yard line. Heavy hit by Chris LaManna, the free safety. Take a look at our first quarter stats, and pretty even as far as first downs are concerned. Passing yards, no surprise, Iona on top there, and rushing yards, Duquesne, 46-15.
Now, I'm usually not a big believer in time of possession, but in this game I am. Duquesne's doing exactly what they want to do, which is keep that high potent offense from Iona off the field.
2nd and 5 for the Dukes of Duquesne. Give the ball once again to Green, round left side, 10, 5, and touchdown. Yes, he did make it in. One official started to signal him out of bounds at about the half-yard line, and the second official signals touchdown. And that doesn't please Greg Gattuso at all.
He's an emotional kind of guy. He was when he was a player at Penn State, and he certainly is now as a head coach.
And the guys up front have done it up in the trenches. The Big Uglies, they call him. Nice job of blocking the left side, Sean Kern and Carlos Rivera. You'll hear us call his name quite a bit tonight. 83-yard drive for the Dukes of Duquesne. 15-yard touchdown run by Bill Green. Puts Duquesne up 6-0. And Chris Bergman on to try the extra point. Nithman holding. Kick is up. And good. And there's the young man, Bill Green, who just put his team up 7-0 on this play. A scamper around left end for 15 yards. So here early in the second quarter, it is Duquesne 7, Iona nothing. Back in a moment.
Mind goofing
A little
off.
crossing route. He and Dan Green exchange positions on this. You'll see him make the cut to the post, and Prudien gets rid of it early enough so that he's wide open in the seam. Jerry, I would expect these guys to start to up-tempo into their thunder or lightning set anytime now.
Their thunder package where they signal in plays from the sidelines. And Prudien looking over the middle. Receiver falls down. He will tuck it and run. And he is stacked up. Heavy contact down about the 36-yard line. He paid the price for about a 3-yard gain.
The big guy, number 79, Craig Aguilera, defensive tackle, actually chased him down enough to let a passel of his buddies get there also. Prudien's looking down the field, doesn't see anything. From the right side, you're going to screen. You're going to see number 75, who just gets enough to hold on, hold up. Where are my buddies? Where are they? Here they come. Good cleanup by Mike Kamoff.
2nd and 7. Prudien once again looking deep and now throws it underneath to Spezio, the freshman, and he is wrapped up by Damon Berry, the strong safety.
Tom Prudien's pass complete to number 22, Eric Spezio.
This is an awful small guy, number 22, working in the middle of the field right there. Just a little, he's just hooking up in the middle of the field. He's 5'5", 160 pounds, tough little kid. He's already got 38 catches on the year.
Prudien 8 for 14. 61 yards thus far. We approach halftime. Iona still scoreless, but on a drive. Prudien has a receiver down deep, scrambles right, and has Spezio down inside the 25-yard line. We talked about how small Spezio is. He's 5'5". They said he's 5'5", standing on a rock.
Spezio and Prudien do a nice job here. He tries to go to Spezio early. It's not there. Then he pulls it back. He breaks the route and finds a little open seam, and now he delivers the ball. That's just a lot of coordination going back to August and Tuidae. Two guys getting to know each other.
Spezio in the year, 36 receptions, 466 yards. Prudien once again looking toward the end zone. As a receiver, it is Dan Green, second leading receiver on the Gales team, and he will reel it in down near the 5-yard line, gain of 18.
Green's one of their inside receivers. He's going to work into the middle and then back out to the sideline. He's got the seam in between the corner and the safety coming over too late. That's a good job.
At the Duquesne 6-yard line.
They will mark the line of scrimmage at the 6-yard line. There's Green's season stats. Second leading receiver. He's the possession receiver. 8 to 10 yards. Closest thing they had to a tight end. That'll bring up first and goal. And they give the ball inside on a rare running play to Rich McCullough, the junior from the Bronx. And he is stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Jerry, you called that exactly right. A rare running play. They average about 50 yards a game rushing. Effectively, what their running game is a short passing game.
They have run as few as 14 times a game this year. The most they have run during a football game, 31 times, but they are yet to go over 100 yards in rushing in any football game this season. They had 94 yards against St. Peter's. Second and goal, ball on the 5-yard line. And scrambling right, Prudien will leap toward the end zone and touchdown. Tom Prudien taking it on basically a scramble to the right side.
You don't often see a run and shoot team with a true option on the goal line, but that's exactly what this is. Watch this. They're going to bring a guy in motion who becomes the pitch man. There's the belly fake, and now they got a pitch man trailing, but Prudien sees he's got the corner made. Great block in front of him. He's going to elevate and get in for 6.
Mark Fenton in for the extra point. Dan Green will hold. He's the wide receiver. Left for the kicker, and they mishandle the snap. And they scramble for the football, and it's picked up back on the 30-yard line. Mark Rayo, the defensive end from Duquesne, comes up with the ball, and so there will not be a conversion.
You got to remember, in college football, you can pick that up and run it back for 2 points.
So Duquesne stays on top by a point with under 11 minutes to go in the first half. Back in a moment.
Now, there's a brand new motor oil made to handle the...
Here with 10 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in the first half. Duquesne 7, Iona 6. As Iona getting set to kick off. Mark Fenton getting set to kick off as they are unable to convert their extra point. Ball going deep. Taken back on the goal line by Adam Kaufman. Up over the 20, and Kaufman is hit and nailed by the 21-yard line. Here a moment ago is the score from Iona.
Adam Coachman on the return.
Motion man, you fake the belly. Now here comes the trailer right there, who's actually a wide receiver. That's Spezio trailing, and you can see right there the good elevation by Prudien as he's accounted for 110 of the 111 total yards for Iona. Ball slick, not a bad snap at all, but the holder, Dan Green, loses it. That's a nightmare for a kicker. Mark Fenton wants no parts of that.
Watch Fenton try to trip this guy. You're not going to take that back for a couple points. He said, I'm a kicker. I don't tackle. First and 10 for the Dukes. Give once again to Bill Green, who has a hole up over the 30-yard line. Nice little gallop for Green. Finally brought down by the free safety, Chris LaMotta.
You know, LaMotta's the second leading tackler for this club, and that's the good news, bad news story. The good news, you have a nice tackler at free safety. The bad news is that he shouldn't be your second leading tackler.
Indeed. Iona scoring drive, 7 plays, 51 yards, 2 minutes, 59 seconds. Prudien a 5-yard touchdown run. In fact, he passed for 43 and ran for 8 in that 51-yard drive. There's Dave Loya, the freshman. Ryan Cornell.
Number 24.
Well, Cornell does it all, doesn't he?
Cornell just a good, solid athlete. He's a backup free safety. They feel like he might be their best running back. He snaps on points. He returns punts and kicks. I hope he's going to bring some coffee up to us at halftime.
And it's an outfielder on the baseball team.
Right.
I'm not sure what kind of cup of coffee he makes, but does everything but drive the bus. They finally give Ryan Cornell a rest. Single setback will be Tim Gribble, the fullback. 2nd and 9. Actually, Bill Green, the tailback, gets the ball.
They went into a double tight situation with Jim Boomer and Todd Schwinner, the 2 tight ends, I formation. And when they do that, Jerry, they're just going to get in that formation and run the football.
Green 10 rushes 87 yards and a touchdown, and he gets up limping slightly after that carry.
You know, we should make the point that their best tailback, Todd Killian, is out for the season. He was their leading rusher, their leading scorer, and their leading all-purpose yardage guy.
After winning the first 4 in a row and they lost Killian, they have lost 3 in a row, so he was an integral part of that offense. Loya has a receiver and overthrows it. It is picked off in the secondary. Angelo Brown comes up with the interception, and there's a look at Angelo, sophomore from Mount Vernon, New York.
Intercepted by number 8.
They really like Angelo Brown. That's his 2nd interception of the year. And Jerry at 6'3", 210, he's bigger than some of their linemen. Straight back, drop back. This ball's thrown behind the receiver who ran a curl route, and it hits Angelo Brown right between the 8 right there, right in the middle of the 8.
10-yard return for Brown. That gives the Gales 1st and 10 on the 41-yard line. Prudian gets a little bit of a pressure, and he will be tossed down about midfield by John Wojciechowski. And we told you this junior, who led the team in sacks a year ago, had missed games since back in September with a foot injury.
Coach Gattuso told me he's really the heart of this defense, and he's just one of those guys that innately understands how to rush the passer. He's not big, he's not strong, he's not fast, but he gets to the quarterback somehow.
Wojciechowski getting his 2nd sack in 1994.
I wonder what his nickname is, Joe. Wojo, maybe?
Yeah, they call him Sackman. 2nd and 18 after a loss of 8. Prudian has a receiver, Spezio, and he is chased out of bounds by Adam Kaufman,
Number 10,
quarterback. Actually,
complete.
Kaufman is the dime back as they bring in added defensive back.
By number 14,
Good job here. Spezio just runs away from Kaufman. That's a mismatch. Kaufman cannot catch Spezio, who's a 4.5 40 guy.
Spezio's 4th reception of the evening, now totaling some 30 yards. There's a look at the diminutive freshman out of Staten Island. Look at that, offensive yards. Prudian, is he critical to this offense? He rolls right, trying to direct his receiver downfield, and throws a pass intended for Dan Green.
A little frustrated there. It was a 2-deep zone. Offensive receiver didn't read it the right way. He ran an out right into the coverage, and I think Prudian's a little bit frustrated there.
And we will have this young man as our halftime guest, Tom Prudian. Had a chance to sit him down earlier today and talk to a very impressive young athlete. Well, what a competitor. We'll have him on at halftime, along with our halftime highlights. And Prudian nails the punt down inside. Well, nope, they couldn't quite handle it, so it goes over the end zone. Frank Sansone was juggling the ball, trying to get it down inside the 5-yard line, and unable to nail it. Take a look again at this punt.
Yeah, that's a shame. Great punt right there by Prudian. He put it right where he wanted to. And you can see right there, there's no way in the world Sansone should have lost that into the end zone.
A lot of college football to come your way this week. Our prime time telecast coming your way Thursday night at 7:56 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be in Louisville, Kentucky, as the Eagles of Boston College come calling on Howard Stellenberger's Louisville Cardinal. What a great game that'll be. We'll have our live coverage as Bill Green gets tagged behind the line of scrimmage. Who else? Vince Santalia.
That's his 3rd big hit of the game. He had a big hit on the sack, and that's the 2nd hit he's had. As you can see right here, right-hand side of your screen. He goes right through the block. Big hit in the backfield. He's got 3 tackles for loss tonight. 1 sack and 2 on running plays.
That'll bring up a 2nd and long after a loss of a couple. 2nd and 14. The give inside this time to Cordell, and he is stopped after a gain of maybe a yard.
You know, last play, Santalia got the better of Rivera. Let's take a look and see what happens here. One-on-one block. There's Rivera pushing him back. Once you get those shoulders turned a little bit, that's all an offensive lineman has to do. That particular time, advantage Rivera.
Hey, Carlos, they got a whistle out there. Carlos ignores those whistles, but talk about an intense individual. 3rd and 11 for the Dukes. Shotgun formation for Dave Loya, the quarterback. Motion by Rosado. Loya has a receiver, and it's Rosado up over the 20. Tries to break a tackle, can't quite get free as Angelo Brown wraps him up out around the 21-yard line. That'll bring up a punting situation for Duquesne.
That was an interesting play. They brought Rosado, the wide receiver, all the way across the formation in motion and threw the screen pass to him. You see Rosado come into your screen. He's going to cut all the way across the line of scrimmage, look one way, Loya, come back the other, and hit him. It looked like they had some good possibilities there, but a good open field tackle by Brown.
Bruce Nelson back to kick, standing on his own 8-yard line. Up to receive is Spezio and Silo just over the 50. Pretty good kick by Nelson as Silo back to inside his 40, cuts up to the 45, and there he is tagged down by Bob Nithman, the junior defensive back. 40-yard kick, a 6-yard return by Silo. Back with more from Arthur J. Rooney Athletic Field here on Duquesne University after this. And we thank you folks from Xavier, Connecticut on hand to watch our live coverage here on the Deuce. Take a little lack of enthusiasm here. 1st and 10, Iona on 45-yard line. Prudian back to pass, scrambling. Has Silo up the sideline, and Silo makes the catch inside the 35-yard line, down around the 34.
Prudian's going to catch Duquesne in a 2-deep zone. Watch the safety split at the top of your screen. 2-deep zone, you become vulnerable in the seam. Prudian does a nice job waiting till it comes open over the corner in front of the safety. Good job by Tommy Silo also.
Gain of 21. And now this run and shoot beginning to fire up a little bit for Iona. As time now moving toward the half, a little over 5 minutes to go. Clock stop with the first down and penalties on the play. Had some movement up front.
Big George Morris, the right tackle, pancaked Ricky Jordan on that.
All right, 5 yards back. Coach wants it.
Procedure against Iona.
And you can't blame him there. He'll take 5. He'll give us 5. Motion on the Iona's offense. That'll move them back 5 and make it 1st and 15.
38-yard line.
Tom Prudian passing thus far tonight. Take a look at the penalty yards. 3 for 25 on. It's 1st and 15. Prudian is 12 for 19, 121 yards. As he takes a rare snap from center, not in the shotgun formation. Pass intended for Silo. Underthrown down around the 25-yard line.
Prudian in this Iona offense knows that we're in a balanced set. When they have 2 wide receivers to either side, they're probably going to get a 2-deep zone, and they're trying to work in the seams of that. When they go trips, that's 3 wide receivers to one side or the other. They're generally getting a 3-deep. The nice thing about that, Jerry, is they can basically dictate what coverage they're going to get.
4 wide receivers, single setback. 2nd and 15. Billy DeVito, the running back, and that's a shuffle pass to DeVito, and he breaks the tackle. He has some yardage, but he can't quite get away from Mark Rayo, the defensive end. Rayo had a hand on him, and Ricky Jordan.
It's a shuffle pass run often by this Iona offense. This is drop back, not out of the gun. They're just going to shuffle it inside to Billy DeVito, but a good job of recognition by number 95, Ricky Jordan.
Jordan and Rayo teaming up. to make the tackle. Jordan was actually a backup defensive end. 3rd and long for Iona. Prudian scrambles, and now as he was past the line of scrimmage when he tossed the ball. Line of scrimmage back on about the 36-yard line. He was actually about the 33 when he threw that pass.
Yeah, he was way beyond there. His recognition of field position wasn't real good. It's shotgun, 2-deep zone, didn't have anything, so he's going to tuck it. At this point, he ought to just take off. He's got good speed. He's a good athlete. Don't throw the ball. You're at least 3 yards beyond the first down marker. That's a costly penalty.
And Green had made the reception down about the 1-yard line, but that will go for naught, and we'll bring it back. Line of scrimmage back about the 35.5. Illegal forward pass, loss of down.
Right. That's why it's so costly. Not only do you lose the distance, but you lose the down. Now, here's a situation when your quarterback is your punter. This is the 3rd time in a row they're in a pooch situation. If Prudian sees something he likes defensively, he's got the ability and the go-ahead from the coaching staff to call an audible and throw the football.
And the pooch punt from Prudian hits about the 18. Nice roll, and will be down the inside the 5, about the 3-yard line by Jans Busakov.
Nice job, Jerry. That was pretty good.
Freshman defensive back out of Brooklyn, New York, Nazareth High School. So very deep in their own territory.
Now, the field position has taken a complete flip from the first quarter where it was dominated by Duquesne, and now the last 3 possessions, Iona has dominated the field position battle, making it a long field for Duquesne.
Don't you know their mothers are proud? Some of the Duquesne students having a good time here. 1st and 10. Ball on their own 4-yard line, and we'll give the ball to Green this time up over the 5, 7. Or he is finally brought down.
I'll tell you who stands out for me so far for Duquesne is their fullback. He doesn't get a whole lot of carries or catches, but he just knocks down defensive ends and linebackers. Timmy Gribble, number 42, is a tough kid.
And thank you very much for that nice message for the Deuce, ESPN2. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6 for the Dukes. If you just joined us, Duquesne is leading 7-6 here as time running out in the first half. Give once again to Green up over the 10-yard line, close to a first down.
Number 5.
Jerry, we talked earlier, double tight eye formation means run the football. And they get in that eye, they're going to let the fullback, who that time was Ryan Cornell, lead up through the hole, and they're going to run the ball right at Iona. I'm telling you, I had her in 3rd grade, that's Sister Maria Marvelous.
She hasn't aged a bit, has she?
It's good, really good.
And it is raining, sister. It is, no doubt about it. And there is Green to the sideline. 13 carries, 91 yards, and the lone Duquesne touchdown on a 15-yard scamper early in the 2nd quarter. This time, Loya back to pass, rolling right, has a receiver.
Good catch, I believe, by Gribble.
Tim Gribble, the fullback, he said it doesn't do much other than knock people out of the way, run the ball, catch the ball. Probably drives the bus.
Now, he had 12 catches coming in. He's a good receiver, but what he does best is knock people down. Good catch, though, because it moves the chains. It gets them out of the shadow of their own end zone. 3 levels of receivers. Gribble comes out of the backfield. He's the closest level. It's delivered just enough to get the first down.
Actually, ball a little bit behind. He did a nice job of catching the ball. 1st and 10. Ball on the 16-yard line. The give once again to Green. Left side has some running room. Nice open field tackle by Brandon Frisch, the freshman out of Malvern, New York.
That's a good call there. I thought he had the corner turned. Timmy Gribble's going to seal the corner to the left of your screen, allowing Green to bounce it outside. I thought he had some room right there, but a good inside-out tackle.
Gain of a yard. 2nd and 9. Deep in their own territory. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first half here at Art Rooney Field, the campus of Duquesne University here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Duquesne on offense. Loya back to pass. Launches a deep one for Rosado, and it's broken up at the last moment by Chris Lamotta, the free safety, but we have a flag back in the offensive backfield, usually where you see a holding call.
Yeah, and it was thrown early, so it'll definitely be a hold.
Chris Lamotta. Penalty flag on the play.
And that's the call, holding.
There were some compounded problems there. They had the hold up front, middle of your screen. I think they're going to get Schweitzer for the middle of the screen, holding on.
Pretty good tackle, I would say.
Yeah, excellent tackle. It was either Codman or Schweitzer right there. But the second part about that I really didn't like is Dave Loya should never throw that football. It was not open. It wasn't there. Don't put it up for grabs like that.
That was Jim Codman, the junior right guard, who made that nice little tackle, which he cost him some yardage and a play.
Yeah, but it'll get him on the defensive stat sheet anyway.
3rd and 10 for Duquesne. Dave Loya, the freshman quarterback, high formation, and he will give the ball to Cornell, and he is met at the line of scrimmage. John Calandros, the junior from Mount Vernon, defensive tackle, making the stop, and that will force Duquesne to punt.
Watch Calandros here. He's been out most of the year. He's going to come from the left side of your screen, right there in the corner of your screen. He's had an injury. He's one of the real tough guys on this defense. Stays home. You can see the cast on his left arm. Makes a good tackle.
That'll bring up a 4th down situation. We have timeout on the field, and we'll take it with them. Back with more here with just 1:34 remaining in the first half. Back in a moment.
The all-new
Field, yes, indeed. Happy birthday, Billy Green. And what a nice birthday present he's having tonight with a pretty good night running the ball. He has the only touchdown for Duquesne. As the Dukes get set to punt deep in their own territory, Bruce Nelson back to kick, standing on his own 2-yard line. Nearly has the kick blocked, and he hits a motor shot, which will be taken by Silo back inside the 45. Silo dances around and gains a couple up over the 45. So 4-yard gain, a 42-yard kick.
Yeah, they're gonna call number 1, Jan Ducant, with a push in the back there. So we're gonna go back another 15 for Iona. I don't particularly think this is a good call. I saw it happen. I got to put back.
An illegal block in the back, and what they're going to call, as you said, Michael. And Silas says, man, why do I take this kind of punishment for lost yardage?
You know, sometimes when you're trying to make a block for a punt returner, when the guy makes a cut, the defender that you're trying to block turns his back, and that's what happened there.
In the back during the return. First down.
Okay, 1:20 to go in the first half. Michael, what do you do if you're Harold Crocker and you got this kind of offense and you've struggled in the first half?
You up-tempo it right now, put the ball in the hands of your quarterback and let him make the calls for the rest of the half.
Let's see what they do. Line of scrimmage inside their own 30. 4 wide receivers. They dump it off inside to McCullough, up over the 35, the 40, and he will leap forward and be tackled down on the 41-yard line.
You can see right there, Frudian's trying to yell everybody up to the line of scrimmage. He's going to make his call. They want to get every snap off in under 15 seconds right now.
This is their lightning package, their 2-minute offense. He yells, lightning, lightning. 4 wide receivers out again. Frudian scrambling, and pass intended for Dan Green.
That's okay. That's a situation where you just throw the football, incomplete, stop the clock, and get back in the huddle and decide what you want to do.
Boy, Timmy Silo had reversed his field, and he was wide open downfield.
Yeah, they were playing that deep zone again, and after the pump fake, he broke clean late. He just puts a little bit too much mustard on for McCullough there. That was about 110-mile-an-hour fastball, high and inside.
McCullough stepped right in front of Dan Green. Back to pass once again, Frudian getting some pressure, and has a receiver, but he has stepped out of bounds. And fortunately for Iona, he had stepped out of bounds, and he threw it directly to the defender, Mark Rayland.
And there is a flag down on the play also.
Penalty markers on the play.
Yeah, that's a football Tom Frudian should never throw. It's a good thing for Iona. He was out of bounds when he let it go.
And a holding call
yeah,
on the defense.
66.
Thank you. Mike Orsi, the nose guard for Duquesne.
Boy, is that an unusual call. Defensive nose guard with a holding call. How often do you see that one, Joe?
Boy, very, very rare. Rarely.
Usually it's a defensive back or linebacker trying to clamp onto a wide receiver.
Holding on the defense. First down.
He called number 66, Mike Orsi. Boy, that's just unusual, seeing a defensive lineman get called for the hold.
Very unusual call. That'll make it first down. Ball just over the midfield stripe. Less than a minute to go here in the first half. 53 seconds to be exact. On the scrimmage at 48-yard line. Prudian looking deep. Tries shallow, and oh my goodness. That's how to get your wide receiver killed. The ball was delivered high, and Silo took a lick from the quarterback, Marl Boggs.
That's that featured matchup that we touched on at the beginning of the game. Watch the end of this play. The ball's delivered high, as Jerry called it. And watch the hit, the rip shot right there. Bang. Head snaps back. That's a good hit by Marl Boggs.
Not a good hit if you're Tim Silo. My goodness, what a lick. Prudian back once again. As Silo open over the middle, looks sideline and unable to hang on up there, the intended receiver. That is Stephen Pogodzinski. Backup wide receiver out of Watertown, Connecticut.
Prudian's pass headed for number 88.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 10 situation.
Incomplete. Third down.
Here's a situation where they like to work at the Dan Green. Their inside guy, their possession guy, will try and run the wide guys off and let him curl under somewhere for 10 or 12 yards. He and Spezio, both of the inside guys, will work inside.
They've had Silo open in the hitch over the middle past 2 plays. This time they both go deep on the flag pattern. Got a penalty. Flag down. Got a hold in the backfield, but it makes no difference as Prudian runs out of bounds back around the 50-yard line, being chased by Ricky Jordan, the defensive tackle.
And I think what's going to happen here is Greg Gattuso is going to say, no, thank you, let's decline it and get the football back.
Holding on the offense. Refused. Fourth down.
And that means that Tommy Prudian will go from quarterback to punter. And back to receive Brian Cornell, who ranks 2nd in the conference in punt returns, averaging over 12 yards of return. There's Prudian averaging 32.2 yards on 5 punts tonight. And there's Brian Cornell, impressive freshman. Prudian trying to get it. And Cornell needs to back out of the way, and finally he does, very dangerously, standing right next to the football. Hamilton versus Calgary coming up Friday on ESPN2 on the news, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. McMahon Stadium in Calgary, Canada. Canadian Football League kicked off its 102nd season on July 6th. Regular season ends November the 6th. That's Hamilton versus Calgary. Coming up on ESPN2, our live coverage of CFL action at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 21 seconds remain here in the first half. Duquesne backed up deep in their own territory. Got to believe that Loya will just kneel it down or quarterback sneak it over and let the clock run out here in the first half.
He took a heck of a shot there, Jerry, instead of just sitting down on it like he could have.
Boy, James Sullivan unloaded on him.
See, that's a freshman play. Boy, you're a senior, you just take a knee.
You're a senior, you take a knee, walk back and hand the referee the ball.
That's right.
None of this quarterback sneaking with 17 seconds to go. Well, there's a look at Harold Crocker, who cannot be pleased at all with what he's seen in his offense in the first half. High-powered own offense held to 6 points, and here is Duquesne. Exactly what they wanted to do in the first half was keep Iona's offense off the field and go in with the lead. Here at halftime at Art Rooney Field, it is Duquesne 7 and Iona 6. More with halftime activity after this. Stay with us.
Here comes the...
Having this Division I AA contest on the campus of Duquesne University as the Duquesne Dukes lead the Iona Gales 7-6 at halftime. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch along with Mike Mayock. Glad to have you with us now. as they meander their way toward the locker room. A lot of discussion this week about what happened last weekend in Division I college football. And then, of course, is the poll situation. Who's number one in the nation? Is it Nebraska with their impressive win over Colorado, or is it the Nittany Lions of Penn State? Now, we're here in Pennsylvania. I'm sure you would get a very partial response to that, but the polls certainly differ as to who's number one.
But, you know, why do we even have to ask this question? That's what I want to know. You can see right there, Nebraska said the AP poll says they're number one. USA CNN poll says that Penn State's number one. We've got this whole coalition set up. In my opinion, I don't see why we can't get this thing done on the field. They do it in every other sport, including football at the lower division levels. And if the NCAA wants to tell me that the reason they can't do it is that the season's already too long, et cetera, the kids can't miss any more class, I say, It's very easy to make it happen. After the bowl games are over, let's do something with it. Let's just say, take the best 4 teams after the polls. Let's take the 4 teams, an impartial committee, just like they do in basketball, and let's play it off. Let's not have any of these bowl situations.
What's your opinion? Now, you've seen Penn State. We had Penn State, Iowa early in the year on ESPN2 on the Deuce, and Penn State very, very impressive. I've seen Nebraska and Penn State. I had Nebraska out against Texas Tech. What are your thoughts?
Well, I haven't seen Nebraska on film yet, but I did 2 Penn State games, and I think that athletically and speed-wise, it's the fastest Penn State team I've ever seen, and I would put their talent level up against anybody in the country offensively. And I mean wide receiver, quarterback. Kerry Collins has come further in 1 year than any quarterback in the country. And the thing I like about this team is that their defensive coordinator, Jerry Sandusky, is one of the best in the country. And that defense, which is a little young when the season started, they're really starting to gel.
Well, I agree that Penn State's got a lot of athletes. They got a lot of talent up front, a lot of skill players. Bobby Ingram, you got Collins out there, you got Kajana Carter, Archie. But having seen Nebraska, even without Tommy Frazier, they have got a tremendous amount of talent on both sides of the ball. Their defensive line, their offensive line, they're a little bit weak in the secondary with some injuries. I tell you, I'd almost have to hedge a little bit and say I think Nebraska. And, hey, let's just play it off.
That's my whole point. You and I could sit here all night, and we could bring everybody else around here, and let's sit down, and half of us would say Nebraska. The other half would say, forget it. Let's play it off. Let's see who's the better football team on January 2nd.
Exactly. I think we should play it off and determine a national champion on the playing field.
And you know what? Look last year. Florida State, they're named national champion. In my opinion, if I'm Notre Dame, I'm not happy. They played it on the field, and Notre Dame beat them. They're both 11-1. Let's play it on the field after the bowl game.
Totally agree. We got 4. What about Alabama? We haven't mentioned Alabama. They're unbeaten. Auburn's unbeaten.
Now, let's not mention Auburn. They're on probation. In my opinion, the team on probation should not be rewarded with any kind of ranking. And I think Terry Bowden's doing a great job, but they should not be rewarded with any kind of AP ranking.
And how about Utah? What an impressive year they've had. I mean, they're unbeaten.
And
remember?
last year, West Virginia, every year there's a story. And in my opinion, and I think yours, let's have some fun. Let the bowl games do their thing. But after it's over, let's get them on the same field, and let's find out who's the best.
I totally agree, partner. Well, here at halftime, we definitely know who is leading, and that is Duquesne, as they are up by a point, 7-6, here at Art Rooney Field. We'll be back with some very special halftime guests right after this, so stay with us. At the half, Duquesne 7, Iona 6. Hey, Remington. The Gales 7-6 in a tight first half. Our special guest at halftime, Brian Caleri. And Brian, who is the athletic director here at Duquesne University. And Brian, before we go any further, I got to ask, we're talking about Art Rooney Field here, and what a beautiful field this is. Explain to us how the Rooney family became involved with Duquesne University and to produce this field here tonight.
Well, basically, Art Rooney Sr. is a graduate of Duquesne University, and Dan Rooney, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers currently, and the Rooney family has had involvement with Duquesne University for several years, dating way back. And when I became athletic director, we were looking for an on-campus facility and looking for different ways to be able to do it. And Mr. Rooney and the Pittsburgh Steelers were very generous and with their support. They liked the concept of an on-campus, right in the middle of campus facility, used not only for football and soccer, men's and women's soccer, but also for intramurals. He liked the concept. They have an interest in the community in Pittsburgh, and he was very, very good to us to help provide the funding for this field.
So about a year and a half ago, what you were seeing a moment ago was a faculty parking lot, and now it's a very, very beautiful AstroTurf stadium. Now, I understand there's some pretty optimistic plans to cover this field and put a bubble over it.
Yes, there are. We met with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I guess last year, when the Steelers were in the playoffs, they really don't have an indoor facility. And I think last week when the Steelers went to New York and played the Giants, they saw the Meadowlands indoor facility. I met with Dan Rooney and Tom Donahue last Monday, and it looks like there's plans to put an indoor facility or put a bubble over, a temporary bubble over the field for the months of December, January, and February, which the Steelers obviously would have first option for use, but also we would be able to use it. The Steelers would be in charge of putting it up and taking it down, and we'd maintain it. They'd use it for a couple of hours of practice a day, and then we'd be able to use it for baseball, track, and other indoor facilities, and we certainly need it being a city campus.
Well, Bill Cowher would bring his Steelers here to Duquesne, and practices wouldn't hurt at all. And how far away is it from their complex to here? I know every coach has got to time that.
Well, the Steelers practiced here, I guess about 2 weeks ago. The Rolling Stones were at Three Rivers Stadium, and the Steelers called about 10:30 in the morning and asked if they could come over and practice at 1 o'clock. And it is Art Rooney Field, so I don't think we had many options in that one. But we said, sure, you can come over and practice. And Coach Cowher got off, and Tom Donahue got off the bus and said, it took us 11 minutes and 20 seconds to get here. We timed it.
Let me quickly mention, he is the athletic director here at Duquesne, but he has a special relationship with Iona. You were the head coach. You were a quarterback at Iona for a while. And, in fact, you were hired there by a very dear friend of ours at ESPN, the late Jim Valvano.
Yeah, I mean, Iona's a very, very special place in my heart. I'm from New Rochelle, New York. Iona's in New Rochelle, New York, so it was your hometown school. And I went to Iona and I played football there, and I had a successful career when I did play there. And I went into high school teaching and coaching, and I was about 24, 25. I was a part-time assistant at Iona, and Jim Valvano was the athletic director. And Jim called me up one day. The head coach got a job at the University of Pennsylvania, matter of fact, and he called me up and said, you want to come in for an interview? And I came in for an interview, and we talked, and I was a bartender on the side. And Jim said, well, how can I hire a bartender? I said, I'll quit. So he said, that's all I needed to know. And he said, you don't have to quit. So Jim hired me that day, and I had a great career at Iona. I coached for 5 years. I was director of intramurals, assistant athletic director. And Jim meant a real lot to me. He brought me into this business 19 years ago and taught me a lot. He came to a lot of our football games. He was a very good leader, as we all know, and certainly affected my life and my career, and I'm indebted to Jim.
Well, Jim always had an eye for talent. Brian Caleri, thanks for joining us at halftime, and thanks for inviting us to this wonderful Art Rooney Field here on the campus of Duquesne University. We are at halftime here in this key MAC Football League game with the Dukes up by a point over Iona. Back in just a moment. And University, where the Dukes are up by a point over the Iona Gales, 7-6. We told you that Tom Prudien was an impressive quarterback, third in the nation in total offense. Prior to the night's game, our Mike Mayock was able to visit with Tom Prudien, and here's that visit. Mike?
Thank you very much, Jerry. And as you said, joining me is quarterback Tom Prudien from Iona. And
in the second quarter,
it's a 15-yard run by Billy Green. He's going to take it around the left end, and the key block is thrown by number 24, Brian Cornell, right there. There's the first one, and here comes the second one, allowing Green into the corner of the end zone. Great job by Green, even better job by Cornell. That made the score 7-0.
7-0, and then coming 10:49 remaining, here's the touchdown from Iona.
Great look at the option play. Run and shoot team with an option on the 5-yard line, and Prudien's going to take it in himself as he elevates over the defensive back for the score, and that made it 7-6.
Option out of the shotgun. Now here's the extra point, which cost them the tie.
Good snap, but number 89, Danny Green, mishandles it in the rain. The ball's all over the place, and place kicker Mark Fenton, watch him, number 97. He's standing there. He sees Mayo pick it up. Kick him! Kick him! What do you expect? A kicker? He must be a soccer player because he certainly has never played football.
I can't tackle him, but I'll trip him. Take a look at our first half stats. Iona up by 1 in first downs. Completions 14 out of 25, 4 out of 10. Look at the rushing yardage differential there.
There's really no surprise, Jerry. The passing yards is heavily dominant on Iona's side, and vice versa, the rushing yardage for Duquesne. And we knew going in, Duquesne would dominate the time of possession.
7-minute domination by Duquesne over Iona, wanting to keep that high-powered run and shoot off the field, and they've been able to accomplish that here in the first half. At halftime, we are 7-6. Duquesne, the Dukes, hosting the Gales of Iona in this key MAC Football League matchup. We'll be back with the second half kickoff here as Iona tries to come back and possibly get that run and shoot on track right after this. So stay with us. Hope you're enjoying Our Division I AA matchup between Duquesne and Iona. I see you brought some of the family there, Mike.
Hey, I wouldn't go anywhere without him, especially Pumpkinhead Mayock over there.
Ah, yes.
My man.
My man. And, hey, the rain isn't going to dampen their enthusiasm. And believe me, it is pouring out here right now in Pittsburgh.
How'd you like to be 20 years old again, Jerry, and do whatever the heck you want and nobody cares, huh? Look at that.
How'd you like to be the parents that are paying for these kids to go to school here and see your son on national television with a pumpkin on his head? I just wondered if they recognized him. Here's the Duquesne Dukes coming out of the locker room at halftime.
But how would they know?
That's our pumpkin.
Trick or treat.
And there is the weather, and I mean the skies have opened up over Pittsburgh. Weatherman said it would dissipate. Is that the word he used? Dissipate, that means quit?
Yeah, I'm not really sure he understood what dissipate means, because it certainly has increased as the game's gone on.
I think dissipate and pour have different meanings, but it is pouring right now here in Pittsburgh as we get set to start the third quarter.
I think it's from the Latin root dissipium, ever pertaining to a slowdown. Not really happening.
Well, you're definitely got a Reader's Digest.
You got to remember, Boston College. Speaking of Boston, you know,
That's
that
right.
Jesuit education. You're going to be there Thursday night.
Right, Thursday night I will be in Louisville, Kentucky.
Can we switch assignments now? I'm on the sideline Saturday night in Colorado State. You're Thursday
I
night.
tell you what, two great football games coming up on ESPN. Colorado State, Wyoming coming up on Saturday night, of course, and Boston College, Louisville. Howard Stellenberger's crew really playing good football there in Louisville, beating Memphis, the University of Memphis now. They're not Memphis State anymore.
Right, that's right.
This past week, giving him a shot possibly at a Liberty Bowl. And tonight we honor Duquesne's Steve Schweitzer as the Pepsi Max Scholar Athlete of the Game. Schweitzer is a 6'2", 255-pound senior from Monroeville, Pennsylvania. He's anchored the Duke's offensive line all year long. The guard, who was a starter on the defensive line for the past 3 years, is a leader in the classroom as well, maintaining a 3.11 grade point average in pharmacy. Last year he earned all district honors as a GTE Academic All-American program. There's the young man, Steve Schweitzer, senior from Monroeville, Pennsylvania.
I'll tell you, the neat afterthought to that story is he's got a younger brother who is a backup offensive tackle, his brother Scott, who's actually started 5 games this year and is also a very fine student.
Chris Bergman set the kickoff as Iona will take the ball on offense to start the second half. Eric Spezio and Timmy Silo back to receive. It'll be the senior Silo on the 15-yard line up to the 20, and he fumbles the ball, and Silo able to recover the fumble up on the 20-yard line, and that would have been disastrous. Good lick by the freshman wide receiver, Glenn Wache.
Watch the hit here by Wache. Silo's got the ball. Put it away, Timmy. Put it away. Good hit right there. Point of contact right on the football. Silo does a nice job hustling up and getting a hold of it. That could have been a big play early in the second half, Joe.
As difficult as it's been to move in this weather here tonight, that would have certainly have given Duquesne a good shot at going up big here early in the second half. As it is, Iona recovers, and they will start 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Looking deep over the middle, and the pass a little bit behind the intended receiver, Anthony Porcaro. He's the tight end.
Tom Prudian's pass.
Bill Seppage in the coverage.
Anthony Porcaro. Broken up by number 23, Bill Seppage.
Take a look at the last 3
Second
possessions
down.
for Iona. 3 plays and punt, 5 plays and punt.
I'll tell you what's happening is Duquesne defensively is doing a great job with their linebackers in sinking back underneath the 2 deep coverage and forcing Prudian to elevate the football.
2nd and 10, single back shotgun formation, and they will fake the ball inside to McCollum. Has a receiver and way over the head of Tim Silo. And Tom Prudian is not having a very good night.
Intended for number 14.
Pogozinski was open deep, and he had underneath him Danny Green short. I'm really not sure who he was trying to hit, Jerry.
Looked like the ball may have slipped out of Prudian's hands, and he went directly to the official and talked to the official about the football. And we told you it is pouring rain here, and they are trying their darndest to keep the balls dry, but Prudien obviously concerned about being able to grip the football.
Difficult situation for a quarterback in a night like tonight.
3rd and 10, line of scrimmage is on 20-yard line. Looking deep once again, Prudien, and Silo can't hang on. And I'm not sure that would have been enough for the first down hit. He caught the ball. He had good coverage. He would have been about a yard shy of the first down marker.
But that's still a pass that Timmy Silo usually catches. It's a little bit behind him. Watch the delivery right up, come right into your screen now. Ball's a little behind him, but Silo will usually make the catch there.
Tom Prudien has missed his last 5 throws, and he will punt the ball averaging 34.5 yards. Back to receive, Ryan Cornell, 50, 45, turns it inside, and fumbles the football. And Iona says they have got him. We'll wait for the officials to unpile him.
Brian Cornell on the return.
Iona obviously signaling they have the ball, and now the officials will agree. So a turnover after the first possession gives the ball back to Iona on their own 49-yard line.
That was freshman free safety Chris LaMotta coming up out on the bottom of the pile here. You're going to see a good couple of hits right on your screen now. Number 1, he's going to flip them around. Here comes the second hit in. Ball's on the ground, and 47 in the middle of your screen ends up coming up with the football. Another angle. Initial hit. Ball comes loose. Right there, and 47 LaMotta.
Second turnover of the evening for Duquesne. Fake handoff inside, play action, and he has Silo. This time he hangs on, and inside the 45, down around the 42-yard line, gain of 14. That'll be another first down. Morrow Mons and Paul Duffy on the coverage for Duquesne.
They're trying to attack this on 2 different levels. They've got a deep man and then Silo underneath, so they take the linebackers out of the way, allowing Silo to come in, and Paul Duffy makes the hit late.
Iona now following that turnover, trying to get untracked offensively. That was the first completion in the last 6 tosses. Silo now 5 catches for 81 yards. This time they give the ball to DeVito off the right side. He has some running room, and he will be inside the 35-yard line. Bob Mittman, backup strong safety, junior out of Pittsburgh, runs him down and makes the tackle down on the 32.
That's exactly what Iona needs to do occasionally to keep Duquesne off balance, because Duquesne's linebackers are flying out under pass coverage. They've got to be able to keep them a little more honest. I think you're going to see them run the ball a little bit, and I think you'll see that shovel pass and a couple things to try and keep those linebackers honest.
Ricky Jordan, the defensive tackle for Duquesne, starting tackle, limps off the field and gets an assist to the bench. They can ill afford to lose him. 2nd and 1 for Iona. Prudien back to pass, looking toward the end zone. Silo scrambles down. Prudien will tuck it and run. Has the first down and will run out of bounds down around the 23-yard line.
Now that's what Tom Prudien has to do right there. And if you don't have something, try to buy some time and then let your natural running ability take over. Here's the coverage in the secondary. They had tripped receivers to the field, so they're a 3-deep zone front side. He's got nobody open, in his opinion, so he's going to tuck it and run. And Prudien's a good enough athlete that he can make first downs that way.
Prudien 8 rushes, 22 yards, and a touchdown thus far tonight. The Iona offense starting to get cranked up. 1st and 10. This time to give inside to DeVito. Down to the 20-yard line, gain of a couple, gain of 3. Adam Kaufman, the quarterback, in to make the stop.
They're finding a little bit of a rhythm now, Jerry. They found a couple things they like. I think they're going to continue to see the occasional run in there, which they didn't do in the first half. As a matter of fact, in the first half, Prudien, there was 34 plays from scrimmage, and Prudien was involved in 32 of them. I think you need to see a little more diversity here in the second half.
2nd and 7 for the Gales. Their deepest threat here in the second half following a turnover. Looking toward the end zone, has a receiver down inside the 10-yard line, and who else? It is Tim Silo, once again the senior, and his knee, they're saying, touchdown on the 7-yard line.
Become the Timmy Silo show here early in the second half. I didn't think Prudien had enough time to get this one in there, but he got it in between the linebacker and the cover guy behind.
It's like Prudien is starting to develop a little bit of confidence back in his throw and starting to step forward and throw off the proper foot.
And you know what? He's also been hot and cold. He started out the game cold, then got hot, 11 out of 13. Same thing in the second half. He missed 4 early, and now he's hot.
This time they give to DeVito down inside the 5, and he will be marked down around the 2-yard line. Billy DeVito, sophomore running back out of the Bronx, 5'11", 190-pounder.
And, Jerry, that's the third consecutive first down play that they've run the football. We didn't see 3 running plays in the whole first half, and that's why they're moving the football.
They will mark the ball on the 3-yard line.
Remember what they did first half. If they're going to throw the ball, I would run and shoot that fine. But if they run the ball on the goal line, it's going to be option.
They ran the option out of the shotgun, and the first time they score. This time they give the ball to DeVito, and he will be across and score. Touchdown, Iona. And Iona takes the turnover, the muffed punt by Brian Cornell, and moves right on down the field to take the lead here early in the third quarter.
By far their most impressive drive of the night. They mixed up their plays much better, and you know what we'll find will happen here, Jerry, is that because they're running the ball effectively, things will open up for Fruitian as the game goes on.
So with the score, Iona up 12-7, and by virtue of missing the initial extra point,
they're going to do the smart thing here and go for 2.
Line up and go for 2. Motion, Dan Green near side. Fruitian back to pass. Tries to get it inside. He intended to pass for Green, but it is batted down by Paul Duffy, the linebacker, and Fruitian has taken a lick.
I think that'll be motion decline.
And you're exactly right, Michael. Motion declined against Iona. The conversion is no good. Watch this lick on Fruitian.
It's Kenny Smith, their big play guy.
Size of the score, Iona takes the lead, 12-7 over Duquesne. Back in a moment.
You're an American.
Start Rooney Stadium, 11 minutes, 19 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Iona going up on top, 12-7 on a classic drive following the turnover of the muff punt by Brian Cornell. Getting set to kick off. Mark Fenton, young man from Knaresborough, England. Left footer kicking off deep. And Rosado, Joe Rosado takes it on his own 4-yard line. Up over the 20, where he is brought down around the 21, and Rosado hangs on to the football. So finally, Duquesne will get the ball on offense in the second half.
Return, stop by number 7.
Let's get a look at this touchdown play here. We talked about Billy DeVito on the touchdown drive. He had 4 carries for 19 yards, including this 3 yards right over right guard and tackle. Good block by Big Emery, in for a touchdown.
Back to action, 1st and 10. Line of scrimmage at 21.5, 22-yard line. They fake the ball to Green. Loya has a receiver, the fullback, Tim Gribble, and he makes the catch up around the 26-yard line.
And he had Matt Stark, wide receiver, wide open off the play action. If he looks deep early, Stark is still running.
And Gattuso saw that. That's not Indiana Jones. That is Greg Gattuso, the head coach.
Hey, he's styling for a former nose guard. What do
Tell you what.
Go ahead, Greg.
Nice hat. Dave Loya, 5 completions out of 11 attempts, 39 yards. Freshman quarterback out of North Forsyth, Pennsylvania. Missed the game last week against Siena because of broken bones in his left hand, his non-throwing hand. 2nd and 6 for the Dukes. They led Siena for most of the game. Siena coming back late in that contest to take the victory. This time to give to Green. And he's up to the 30-yard line, be about a yard shy of a first down. John Calandros, junior defensive tackle, in to make the stop.
This is the down and distance type of situation that Coach Gattuso wanted all night long. Pick up 4 or 5 in first down and leave yourself with that 3rd and 1 or 2. Reestablish the running game. I think you're going to see Billy Green a lot in the second half.
3rd and 2 for the Dukes. Ball on their own 30-yard line. Pro I formation. Cornell, the fullback. They give the ball to Green. He's up, and he will be stopped short of the first down. Nice tackle by Calandros coming across. It looked like Green had some running room. It was going to dart to the outside for an easy 5 or 6.
Sure did. Nice block by Gribble again at the point of attack. Right there, he hooked him. I thought he had it made, but Calandros, back from the injury, inside-out tackle, does a great job. And, Jerry, they're getting not only a physical lift, but an emotional lift from the returning starter.
Bruce Nelson back to punt. Spezio and Silo back to receive. Flag on the play. Officials stopping play, and they will back up Duquesne for motion and add 5 more yards. For Bruce Nelson's distance he needs to get his football team out of a deep hole, field position-wise. If you just joined us, it was 7-6 at halftime. Duquesne up by a point over Iona. Iona took the opening second half kickoff, unable to move, punted, and a turnover on a muffed punt. Actually, he didn't muff the punt, he just fumbled the ball. Iona moved in for the score and are now up 12-7. Very poor kick by Bruce Nelson, and the official will signal that ball out of bounds up on the 47-yard line. Just a 21-yard kick.
Nelson's punt is out of bounds
by Nelson, the sophomore.
47-yard line.
And we're back to the short field discussion. First quarter, it was all Duquesne. Second quarter, it was all Iona. And so far here in the third quarter, no question, Iona playing on the short field.
Now with confidence brimming after that successful touchdown drive, here are the Gales back on offense, leading them back in passing offense. 335 yards passing a game they're averaging. Here's Prudy back to throw again. Pretty good protection now. Scrambles out, and he will be brought down by Craig Agulia, sophomore nose guard out of Pittsburgh.
Tom Prudy dragged down by number 79.
I'll tell you, for a big guy, he's got some pretty good agility. 5'10", 250, only a sophomore. He's made a couple of nice tackles on Prudy in pursuit.
If he doesn't make that stop, Prudian gallops for about 15 yards downfield to the next defender. 3 sacks tonight for the Dukes.
Here's a rarity. They're in the huddle.
What is that called again?
I kind of forgot.
Very rare you will see the Gales with their hurry-up offense, the run and shoot in a huddle. In fact, they didn't know how to huddle. They couldn't even huddle. They were trying to figure out who stood where. Shotgun formation. This time to get to DeVito. Pretty good hole right side. He's inside the 45-yard line. Gain of about 4.
I like what they're doing here in the second half. They're hanging the hat on this running game a little bit, and ultimately that will open up the passing attack even more.
That'll bring up a third and call it 7 yards to go.
That was out of shotgun, just a little draw to DeVito, and they picked up about 7 yards.
4 wide receivers once again. Billy DeVito back, motion near side. That's Dan Green. And here's Prudy looking downfield. Has a receiver. Spezio is up for the first down, and Spezio gets tagged.
This is going to be an interesting spot. You were right, Jerry. He had enough for the first down, but he continued to fight. Let's see where they're going to mark the ball.
He was at least a yard by the marker, and they will mark the ball down around the 36-yard line, which will barely be enough for the first down.
You called that exactly right. He had more than a yard. You'll see here at the end of the play, Spezio's fighting for extra yardage. He gets a good hit on him by Sepich, but look at him fighting, but he gets pulled out of bounds right there. See it again.
You saw Greg Gattuso a moment ago, the Duquesne coach, not real happy about that first down, but on the replay, you clearly see he had the first down yardage. Prudy back to pass, throws it over the middle, and has his receiver. That is Green. Make that Pogodzinski, Stephen Pogodzinski, backup wide receiver.
I'll tell you what, Prudy took a pretty good shot there from, I think, Mark Rayo. Watch at the end of this. He's stepping in the pocket, step up, looking, where's Pogodzinski? Bang, good hit, and even better throw.
Nice catch by the junior going down to the ground, Pogodzinski. Gain of about 8. A lot of yardage coming from their wide receivers, 155 yards. This time they give the ball to DeVito again off the right side, and a fumble. And DeVito falls on it. It looks like Duquesne will recover. Marl Moss, the quarterback, indeed falls on that fumble after causing the fumble. And falls on it. And we told you top of the telecast, he was a critical player for this Duquesne defense.
Not only is he a good cover guy, but he's a physical, tough run defender. Watch this play here. Little sweep out of the gun. He's going to come up, make the tackle. The ball pops loose. Watch the hustle. Where is it? Where is it? Get on it, Morrow. And he's going to win the fight for the football.
We'll be back with more from Art Bruni Field right after this. Stay with us. Someone do the spell check on those guys. Now, come on, guys. You could spell earlier.
What is that? Go?
DTP or DIP, I'm not really sure. Iona on defense. Duquesne has the ball. Completion up to the 40-yard line, inside over the 45. That is Brian Cornell. Angelo Brown makes the stop.
That's the exact same play they started off the last time, Jerry, and they looked for the deep guy. Remember, we talked about how they had the deep guy open last series. This time he wasn't here, but Loya did a nice job on the bootleg, coming off with a guard in front of him and just dumping the ball to the fullback Cornell. Second about a foot, Jerry. Here's a chance that they want. Take a shot at something. Another play action.
Take a shot possibly to go deep. Dave Loya is going to have to hustle. 25-second clock running. Down to 5 seconds. He gets the ball off snap off. And, he gets hammered by Ben Santalia. And they were trying to go deep, but never got a chance to get it off. Dave Loya turns around and has a face full of the senior from Yonkers, New York.
Good job by Ron Clark, because Jim Boomer, the tight end, was open down the seam. Wide open, but right there, good hit by Santalia. Catch the ball, Ron Clark, huh? He's got hands like feet.
Put those hands on today. Third down and a foot. I formation. And they give the ball to the up back, and he will have the first down. Down up close to the 50-yard line. And, of course, Tim Gribble, the fullback.
Every now and then they throw him a bone. Here it is, 3rd and 1. Get the first down for us, and now you're back to be a glorified guard, Timmy. I'll tell you what, he's a tough kid, Jerry.
5'11", 215-pounder out of Merrittstown, Pennsylvania.
A baseball pitcher, too. He pitched a 3-2 win over Penn State last year. Went the distance, 9 innings, giving up no earned runs.
First and 10 for the Dukes. Loya back to pass, has Cornell open, tries it over the middle, and incomplete. Pass intended for the backup tight end, Todd Swinner, out of Wexford, Pennsylvania.
Swinner is their designated receiving tight end. Their regular starter is Jim Boomer, number 81. You'll see, get a good look at the pressure here. Straight drop back. He's going to come back the other way and try and get a hold of Swinner, number 37.
And once again, Santalia gets a shot at Dave Loya. Loya's going to be saying, somebody block this guy. 2nd and 10 for the Dukes. Give to Brian Cornell. He will gain a couple.
Who makes the tackle again? Watch Santalia. Last time he rushed the passer. This time he's going to fight pressure. He's going to fight through Chris Rivera and get a piece of Cornell as he goes through the hole. Kid's doing a great job both on the rush and on the pass, Jerry.
The little poop, you see him leaning over there in the huddle. But he is pumping that fist, keeping that defense alive. One-man wrecking crew. There's Ben Santalia. Right defensive end. 3rd down and long yardage. 3rd and about 7. Loya has a receiver and enough for the first down. And that is again Todd Swinner just inside the 40-yard line.
Good job. Schwinner recognizing how much he needed for a first down. He ran the curl just 1 yard beyond the stick. Real nice job by Schwinner finding you. Here's drop back, 37 at the top of your screen is Schwinner. He sets up right at the first down marker, and they move the chain.
Gain of 9 yards for Duquesne. That'll give them 1st and 10 inside the 40. Line of scrimmage at 39. Trailing 12-7. here in the third quarter. The pitch this time to Cornell, and he fumbles the pitch, and the ball is kicked out of bounds.
Where's those soccer players? Offset eye. You can see Gribble set up in the offset. That's so he can get a block on the corner. But unfortunately, our baseball player there, number 24, Brian Cornell, could not handle the pitch.
And they mark it from the point of possession. That's where Cornell had received the pitch and kicked the ball from that possession point out of bounds. They mark it back at the 45-yard line.
Because the offensive team cannot advance a fumble in that situation.
That'll bring up a 2nd and 16 yards after Duquesne to put together a pretty impressive drive here to try to tie the score. Now find themselves back near midfield. Loya back to pass, and guess who? Vinny Santalia says hello. For the 3rd time in 4 plays, Santalia meets at Dave Loya in the backfield.
Speed rush right past Carlos Rivera, number 51. From the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see coming in late the one and only Vince Santalia. He blew right by Rivera, who's got good feet for a 6'2", 275-pound tackle.
That'll bring up 3rd and 24. 3rd and a day's ride for Duquesne. All way back now inside the 50 on their own 47-yard line. They'll have to go down inside the 30 for a first down. Loya back to pass, looking deep, and he cuts it loose. And his receiver falls down. That is Mark Neely. Neely trying to turn back on the pass that was underthrown, and he cannot keep his footing. That'll bring up a punting situation.
Field conditions playing havoc. You can see Neely trying to push off a little bit. He's just going to slip and fall.
Number 87, Bruce Nelson.
Bad pass, bad catch. We'll punt.
So the Duquesne drive stalls due by virtue of penalties, pushing them back and forcing them to punt. Spezio and Silo, the 2 Iona players who are deep. Back to punt is Bruce Nelson.
Iona kids jumping all over the place, trying to force one of the offensive linemen to jump, and that's exactly what happened.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. 5 yards, 4th down.
That'll cost them 5 more. Move the ball back to the 42-yard line. And Gattuso is not a happy camper. Greg Gattuso, Penn State graduate, former defensive lineman on the 82 National Championship team. And good kick by Bruce Nelson. Best kick of the evening. Drives Silo back to the 15-yard line. And he will be run back to the 10-yard line where the tackle is made by Bob Nisman, the junior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A 43-yard punt and a return of -5 yards. Back with more from Art Rooney Field right after this. If you're enjoying our coverage of Division I AA football here at the MAC Football League, as it seems like the Duquesne students are trying to have a good time and somehow enjoying themselves, even though their football team trails by 5 points here in the 3rd quarter. 1st and 10 for Iona. Line of scrimmage at 10-yard line. Prudian looking upfield. Has a receiver nearly intercepted. The closest receiver to it intended for Dan Green. Mike Civitello had a shot at catching the ball, the defender.
You know, we expected some fireworks tonight, Jerry, but what we're seeing is 2 really good, tough, aggressive defenses tonight, making hits all over the place. We've got a good football game here.
2 well-coached teams playing in some rather inclement weather here on a Halloween night in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University. Prudian in the bus snap over his head, and that will be a safety. And Prudian obviously disgusted, but fortunately for Iona, the ball rolled out of the end zone, else it would have been a touchdown.
You know what? Really an important situation here. That makes it 12-9 because of the 2 missed extra points. Field goal ties the game. And I'll tell you what is also ironic is I had a talk with the coaches this morning, and they told me that Timmy Byer, the center, is such a good snapper. You can see it goes right over the head. Timmy Byer is such a good snapper, they don't have a problem going shotgun back around their own end zone because they know he's so consistent. So I'm not sure if it's a situation of the weather or what, Jerry, but that's really an unusual occurrence for Timmy Byer.
Remember, they had a bad snap on the extra point. and which cost them a tie at halftime, and now another bad snap in the shotgun formation. So, and it cannot make Harold Crocker, they're the head coach, very happy.
I think Harold Crocker feels like this team has kind of turned the corner a little bit, dominating the football game, and it's not showing up in the points on the board. You know, one thing we might talk about is these coaching staffs and the kids and why they're out here today. And, you know, they have one paid assistant coach on each team, and there's 7 or 8 other coaches, and each one of those guys does it for only one reason, because he loves the game.
You know, Mark, talking about Greg Gattuso there, this is a different level of football. Last night, these coaches got together for dinner all together.
Right.
All had dinner together and talked because they're all good friends, and they laughed and talked. I mean, could you imagine Gary Moeller inviting Lou Holtz over for dinner the night before a big game? I don't think so.
Well, this is non-scholarship Division I AA, and if you're a player or a coach, there's only one reason to be out here, and that's because you love the football game.
3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining here.
Jerry, they're going to kick here, which is unusual after a safety. Usually you see a punt.
Strong leg from Mark Fenton, kicking the ball deep. And we've got, as Rosado takes it down the 25-yard line, gets a pretty good run out over the 40, 45, 50. One man to beat. And Joe Rosado, the freshman wide receiver, gives the Duquesne excellent field position on a 41-yard return.
There's a flag down, but it's going to be offside on Iona, so this run will stand. Watch the cut here by Rosado as he gets that open field outside. Now he's going to cut it back right there. 41-yard return. They will decline the penalty in great field position.
I tell you, if Robert Piccirillo, the reserve running back, doesn't make that tackle, Rosado has 6.
From the high angle, we can see Rosado taking off right now. Good tackle at the end of the play.
1st and 10, ball on the Iona 39-yard line. And Duquesne, an excellent field position. Screen pass to Green. Has a block. Down inside the 30, 25. And a great call by Duquesne. And Mike, in that last series, they were getting so much pressure, so much of a rush up front. A great call offensively by Duquesne.
Exactly right. They've got to do some things. Draw and screen. Watch the good block by 51, Carlos Rivera. He's been getting beat up today by Santalia, but he makes the block right there, allowing Green to get it into the open field. Jerry, you're 100% right. You've got to slow down a great pass rushing team, especially a guy like Santalia. Draw, screen, and trap.
1st and 10, good field position. Ryan Staines is the quarterback, and he will lock one toward the end zone, and nearly picked off by Angelo Brown, intended for Mark Neely. Dangerous pass there by Staines, who was the backup quarterback. Now, Staines was a quarterback a year ago. In fact, set a record here, university record for yardage in a season.
See the end of the play here. It's just a jump ball. Luckily for Iona, they've got 6'3" sophomore Angelo Brown back there, and he wins the tip. Good point, though. Backup quarterback Staines, he was a starter the last 2 years, so you know he can get it done. He's had a foot injury, and they felt like if he could go tonight, they wanted to work him in somehow.
Not overly mobile, but may have the better arm of the 2 quarterbacks, the coaches were saying. As you mentioned, that foot injury keeps him from being able to scramble too much. Staines back to pass, has a receiver, and nearly reeling it in once again, Mark Neely.
So you could see he had some giddy up on that ball. You can see he's got a little bit different kind of arm than what Moya has. He's a pocket guy. He stepped up, and he really delivered that with some authority.
That was a rifle shot.
Hey, doctor, give me a prognosis there. Got the brace on the foot.
Definitely got that mid-foot sprain, as you see. Take a look at.
Come on, give me a couple technical terms here, not mid-foot sprain. Where'd you get your degree?
In the mail. 3rd down, 3rd and 10 for Duquesne. And Staines back to pass, has a receiver, and down to the 10-yard line. Nice toss and nice catch by Mark Neely, gain of 13, and that keeps the Duquesne drive alive.
I really like that throw and catch right there. Get an ISO on Neely. He's going to run a deep curl route. It's 3rd and 10. He's going to make a little cut inside, and now he's going to turn around. Watch how quickly the ball gets here. Come back to the football. There it is, 1st down. Good throw, good catch, and once again, good protection.
Sometimes the change of quarterback just gets the momentum changing a little bit for the offense. And not that Dave Loya had done a poor job. He had not done a poor job at all, but they bring in the junior Brian Staines, and he has this offense moving for Duquesne. Staines has a receiver, touchdown. And he made that play work by pumping and waiting for the receiver to clear Mark Neely and put the Dukes back on top.
Really a nice job, as you said, of holding on to the football. He waited till it came loose. He had the patience of a veteran quarterback to wait until that came free. That was just a great job on that drive by junior quarterback Brian Staines.
So they went to Neely 4 straight times deep in Iona territory and turned up with 6 points. Chris Bergman on to attempt the extra point. Bob Nitzman the holder. Kick is up and good. So with 1:48 remaining here in the third quarter, it is Duke 16, Iona 12.
Very impressive drive put together by Brian Staines here. Watch the patience. Pump, not there, now give it to me. And he took a little heat off that perfectly, delivered it with some touch. You know, Jerry, the thing I liked about that whole drive was that when the ball had to be delivered on time, it was delivered early, and here he had the patience to wait and then deliver the soft throw in behind 47, the free safety LaMotta. Really a nice job.
Nice job. 3 completions out of 5 attempts, 39 yards for Staines, and look how close the ball had to be exactly on the money for Neely to be able to reel it in for the touchdown.
Did 2 things well. He waited for Neely to come open, and then he took a little off it, knowing he had to elevate it past LaMotta.
Well, a seesaw game here at Art Rooney Field on the campus of Duquesne University here in Pittsburgh on a very rainy Halloween night. Rains were supposed to move out early in the afternoon. As you can tell, they have not done that, but Duquesne certainly not feeling. Here's a man right here who isn't feeling the rain at all. He's just feeling the excitement of an impressive performance.
Hey, Jerry, that safety really became a 9-point swing for Duquesne. Everything's going Iona's way. They get the bad snap in the end zone and turn around and get great field position off the kickoff and take it right back in. So you get a 9-point swing, which in a low-scoring game like this is huge.
And the rains have come again, and it stopped raining for about the last 15 minutes, and the skies have once again opened up as Iona tries to get the ball again. Chris Bergman set the kickoff, and he kicks the ball deep. And Tim Silo will take it on his own 12-yard line. Up across the 20, 25, runs into his own player, and that will be tackled back around the 26. NFL action coming your way on ESPN Sunday, November 6th from Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. It's the Raiders and the Chiefs. Kansas City and the LA Raiders. Mike Patrick, Joe Sizer will be on hand to bring you all the coverage live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's Sunday, November 6th, Raiders and Chiefs. First and 10 for Iona. Prudy and back to pass. Has Spezio up over the 25. Tries to break a tackle. Good open field tackle by Bill Sepich, the quarterback. Number 23, the sophomore out of Saxonburg, Pennsylvania.
Amazing what a little change of momentum can do. Little dish out there. Open field tackle, as Jerry called it. But that's what the run and shoot wants to do, is isolate their guy on your guy in the open field.
Gain of about a yard, and we see a huddle for a change. Iona realizing that this is a very, very critical drive. 2nd and 9. Prudian. The inside pass to Silo, and he will be up near the 30-yard line.
They're very fortunate there because Duquesne was in man-to-man coverage, and number 7, Muntz, who's already had a monster game, read that immediately. He almost had a chance to pick this off. Watch it, 2-step drop from the shotgun. Look how close Muntz was there, number 7. Scary pass if you're Iona. That's where Prudian has to come off that receiver and look for somebody else, even though it was designed to go to number 14, Silo.
3rd and 7 for Iona. Prudian back, looking upfield once again. Scrambles right, has a receiver open, throws it in and out of the hands of Dan Green up near the 40-yard line. That would have been enough for the first down. But as it is, Iona will have to turn it over back to Duquesne, trailing in this game by 4 points.
And Jerry, 3 and out, and ever since the safety, things have gone 180 degrees. Advantage Duquesne.
There's Tom Frudigan's average punting at 34.5 yards. Has put 3 inside the 20-yard line. He'll be able to boom this one standing back inside his own 20. And not a very good kick, but gets a good roll. Down to about the 35, 34. And they will mark him down at the Duquesne 32. And that's the end of the third quarter, as Duquesne has stormed back to take a 4-point lead. It is the Duke 16, Iona 12. Back with more from Art Rooney Field right after this. We'll be back to Pittsburgh. We are on the bluff, and that is the Monongahela River there, the 10th Street Bridge. And if you folks remember the Bruce Willis movie Striking Distance, that's where they filmed that movie there, using lights to light up the river. We're on the bluff overlooking that scene as Duquesne has the ball to start the fourth quarter. They give the ball inside. Good running room for Bill Green, the junior running back out of Pittsburgh. Hometown boy.
Good call on first down by Coach Gattuso. They threw the ball down the field last time with quarterback Staines in the game, and this time you run a little draw play.
Take a look at our third quarter stats, and you see basically Duquesne still able to control it on the ground. Iona up big in passing yards.
Come on, Duke.
Billy Green's got 104 of those rushing yards.
And a touchdown, the first score of the game. Second and short. To give once again to Green. He's up to the 40-yard line. That will put him shy of the first down by about a half a yard.
I'll say there's some great collisions starting with number 42, Tim Gribble. If you're an I team, you've got to have a fullback that'll block somebody. Watch 42 coming right at you on number 46. Solid block there. I don't think he's missed a block tonight.
Brandon Frisch in to make the stop. The freshman out of Malvern, New York. In fairness to Iona, they had so many people graduate last year. They lost 2 inside linebackers, had 2 outside linebackers transfer to Division I teams, but they're both playing. One at Colorado State and one at Temple. Third and short for the Dukes. And trying to draw them off sides. We've got some flags. Now, Vinny Santalia says that he was drawn offside.
Well, all the attorneys are going to get involved now. Future attorneys right here.
And we'll let the officials make the call. They say offsides, Iona, and that will give them enough for the first down, which they had anyway.
There's the jump right there into the neutral zone. Ball is snapped while he's still there, so it'll be first down. And you know what, Jerry? You made a nice call there as far as the transfers. Obviously, you're talking about linebacker Carl Ballard, who last year had over 100 tackles for this Iona defense. What a great story. He transfers to Colorado State, walks on. No one's ever heard of him. A couple injuries, and next thing you know, he's on the ESPN Game of the Week making plays.
And what a job Sonny Lubick has done out of Colorado State with the Rams out there. They had that tough loss at home at the Utah.
But wasn't it great to see the WAC revert the form? No defense, 48-31. I mean, that was fun.
Outstanding. And we'll have that Colorado State football team on ESPN coming up Saturday night against Wyoming. Got a receiver open downfield and right through his hands. Todd Swinner, the backup tight end, had about a half a step on Angelo Brown, and the ball was thrown perfectly.
I applaud the play call there. First and 10, play action. You've got your tight end isolated on Angelo Brown. They took a shot. I like that on first and 10 out of play action. There's been a perceptible change in this offense ever since Staines came in the ball game. And I think the difference is nothing against Loya, the freshman, but Staines has put the ball on the target every time.
Greg Gattuso, head coach, along with Jerry Smith, calling the plays for Duquesne on the sidelines. I formation. The give again to Green. Right side has some running room up to the 50-yard line. Inside the 50, down near the 45, before he is finally brought down
Bill Green on the carry.
by by Matthew Carlo. Matt Carlo, freshman linebacker out of Mount Vernon, New York.
Watch the right side of the line, gets a great push, and I hate to keep talking about Timmy Gribble, but watch him. He's got nothing to seal. He's on the left side of your screen, nothing to seal. What's he going to do? There's the hit, the kick out. That's just a knockout block. Timmy Gribble's knocking people on their back all day, and the recipient, the benefit of that, is Billy Green, who's having a big day.
19 carries for 115 yards for the young man from right here in Pittsburgh, Bill Green.
And 19 knockdowns by Timmy Gribble.
Pancakes. I'm sure Gribble's had a few of those.
On the griddle.
And this time he gets to carry the ball. Somewhat of a reward, but a penalty is down.
I tell you, Jerry, they throw him the bone on 3rd and a foot. That's about as far as they're going to give it to him.
And he gets him a foot and a half.
That's like my high school basketball coach used to tell me, feel free to pop it inside 3 feet, Mike.
He knew you had an eye, huh?
Oh, I was deadly and tight.
Offsides against Iona. That will
You want to take the penalty.
produce the first down anyway, the 5 yards.
I really respect the kids on these teams. Once again, I can't stress enough, Division I AA, non-scholarship. These kids are out here because they love to play football. Most of them have full-time jobs. They go to class, and they still make the time to play football. It's really neat to see this.
You know, Greg Gattuso told me he has a couple of days a week where his entire backfield misses practice because they're all in lab. They're in class.
Great
and he
story.
understands that.
Yep.
They can't be here. They're academics first. Academics come first. 1st and 10 to give a Green once again left side. Great block up front and Green. My goodness.
Timmy Gribble is killing people. Oh, man.
And Vinny Santalia is hobbling off and now falls down on the field on the far side. And boy, what a terrible loss he would be.
Wow. You can look right here. Watch the block out now. You don't get a real good look at that, but Gribble puts a great shot on number 28, Dan Foley.
And there is Vinny Santalia, and I tell you what, if you're Harold Crocker, you definitely hold your breath. You don't want to ever see anyone get hurt. But Santalia was trying to walk off the field and could not put any weight. Looks like on that left ankle they're looking at there.
Take another look at it from up top. Watch 42 to the right of your screen. Once again, another big hit on the corner. Bang! Knocks Foley far enough back, clears the way for Billy Green.
Nice running by Green. That is the assistant trainer, associate trainer, Sam DeRosa, taking a look there at Vinny Santalia. So while we have time out on the field, we'll take it with us. Back with more from Art Rooney Field in just a moment. Back here at Duquesne University, there is Vin Santalia being attended to by Sam DeRosa, the associate trainer. And Santalia says, enough of that tape. I'm headed back in the ball game.
Hey, he's a warrior. Check him out. Left-hand side of your screen. Rivera blocking him. He gets his shoulders turned. That's the key. And now he's going to drive block him. But there's a pile behind him. He's going to go over the pile, and that's where you get those knee injuries. That's nasty.
Sean Curran was on the ground, and they actually bent Santalia back over Curran. And that's where he got his ankle caught. Second and about 5. This time to give. And you hear the licks Brian Cornell took up down near the 30-yard line. And here is Santalia. You talk about a gladiator. Now he's hobbling back on the field. And there is no way that Harold Crocker was going to keep that young man out of the ballgame. Take a look at his left foot.
Hey, I guarantee you he's not spatting that to look good.
No way.
He's not one of those guys.
He bent that ankle back underneath Sean Curran as he was battling Carlos Rivera. 3rd and 1. Let's see if Santalia can play on that hobbled ankle. 3rd and a yard for Duquesne. Ibacks give to Green, and Santalia not mobile enough to get outside. Took a stab at him.
It's going to be difficult for Santalia to push off that ankle. He's going to get buried right here by a double team. Tight end and Rivera coming down on him, and look at that. They're just going to push him down, collapse it inside. The block by Timmy Gribble, and the first down.
Whitney Epps up to make the stop, the freshman. Iona's defense, they start 5 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior. They are very, very young. Take a look here at Bill Green, 21 carries, 123 yards. Duquesne has 26 yards rushing as a team. It's time to give inside to Brian Cornell.
Now check out in the defensive line, number 75, Cam Edwards. He's 330 pounds, and they're running right at him. You can see him on the right side of your screen. He got pushed back about 4 yards. He's a sophomore, 6 feet. There he is, 6 feet, 330. Wearing Joe Green's number here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And he trots off to the sidelines. That's Rich D'Amico, defensive line coach. They're talking to him. Ninth play of this drive for Duquesne, burning up some clock here, 2nd and 6. Under 10 minutes to go in the football game, and Green, great balance, was hit in the backfield, spins out of the grass, and will leap forward for a gain of about 2.
Nice job by Billy Green. Dan Foley made the play that time over Gribble. He cut right underneath Gribble on the left. Those two have had a battle. Well, watch this. Here comes Gribble. Here goes Foley underneath, gets a leg. Great job. A little 360. Keep going. Billy Green shows his agility there.
Incredible balance by the young man, the junior running back. Good football game. We told you it'd be a lot of offensive fireworks. Full house backfield on 3rd and a couple, and they give it on the counter, and football, and Iona has the football. A couple of the Iona players are pointing in their own direction, but they have the football. On the counter play, the crossbuck they call it, the Bill Green. On 3rd and short.
Big play right there. Reverses some of the momentum. Here comes that counter buck. They're going to pull number 56, Sean Curran. But look at the play from inside out right there with a good hit coming underneath. I believe that's number 39. Hard to see from that angle, James Sullivan.
3rd turnover of the night for Duquesne. And incredibly, with 3 turnovers, they are still up by 4. Prutian back to pass, scrambles to his right, being chased, cuts it upfield, 30-yard line, tucks the football, and will run out up near the 35, just over the 35-yard line. Nice scramble by the young junior quarterback. Morrow Moss, the cornerback, runs him out of bounds.
Here's what Prutian has to do. He's a good enough athlete to win this game by himself. Those linebackers are dropping so deep, they're taking everything away. Here's what he's got to do. Tuck it, make the cut, and move the chains. He's really a fine athlete.
11-yard gain by Tom Prutian.
Not having a huge night by his standards throwing the ball, but he can beat you either way.
Less than 9 minutes remaining here in this football game. Duquesne up by 4, 16-12 over Iona, and that ball way over the head of Eric Spezia, which doesn't have to be thrown that high, because Spezia is only 5'4", but it was thrown about 6'5".
Yeah, Mark Nearly might have had that, but not Spezio, right? Look at him. There it is. That's what football's all about. I'm 5'4", 160 pounds, soaking wet, standing on a stool, but I can still play.
And a freshman. Named the MAC co-rookie of the week after their loss to Siena back on October the 1st. There's Spezio. He'll be a second baseman on the baseball team at Iona come spring. 2nd and 10. Prutian wants to pitch the ball. Now does pitch the ball. Oh my goodness. Wow. Dangerous pitch.
Actually, very dangerous, but a nice play. He understood. He pulled it down when the guy came flying by him and then pitched it late. Kind of a heads-up play by Prutian. Dangerous, but watch that. There's the fake. Now he knows that his tailback, his wide receiver who's in motion there, number 22, our man.
That's actually Billy DeVito,
right? No, that was DeVito?
Billy DeVito, the tailback.
Okay.
But Wojciechowski took the hook on the pitch. Wojciechowski spun all the way around thinking the ball had been pitched. That'll bring up a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8. And Prutian needs to keep this drive alive as he scrambles right. Has a receiver, and he completes the pass to Stephen Pogodzinski. And up near the 50, that'll be enough for the first down, but we have a penalty on the play, flag on the play.
Here's a great job between Prutian and Pogodzinski. Nobody's there. He pumps, and now he's directing traffic and throws it back inside to Pogodzinski for the apparent first down.
And the Duquesne players are applauding, so apparently it will be, the penalty will...
It's 4th down.
Ineligible receiver downfield.
Oh. And that will be loss of down as well, so that'll bring up a 4th down, 4th and 8. And a punting situation. Here with 8 minutes and 35 seconds. What a big penalty against Iona.
Hey!
You hear what Greg Gattuso is telling his punt return team, and it's exactly what he should be saying with 8 minutes left in the game and the ball near midfield. Watch the fake, the quarterback's the punter.
Tom Prudien back, standing on his 25-yard line. Clock running down, and Prudien will indeed kick the ball. Kicking it away from Cornell, and gets a great bounce, 30, 25, and what a tremendous roll. And this will significantly change field position. Let's go, baby! As the ball is touched down inside the 15-yard line. A 49-yard kick by Tom Prudien. So with 8 minutes and 14 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter, Duquesne holds a slim 4-point lead. Back with more after this. Watch a football game that inside here, that is the Science Building in the west end zone of Art Rooney Field, otherwise known as the Mellon Hall. That's the third floor. They have bleachers inside where you can sit and enjoy the nice football game. They certainly are enjoying watching their home team, Duquesne, try to run down some clock now, leading by 4 points at 16-12. Duquesne over Iona, with now just 8 minutes exactly to go in the football game.
And how do you qualify for that seating level? Is that like the super box for Division I AA or what?
I'm not sure. It's the Mellon Building. It looks at that one guy. Looks like he might have eaten a couple melons. Big advantage in time of possession for Duquesne. Almost 11 minutes over Iona. That's what they want to do tonight by design, was keep that high-powered offense off the field. And Iona has not been overly high-powered tonight. The gift, once again, to Bill Green. And he is gang tackled at about the 15-yard line.
Number 5, Bill Green.
Brandon Frisch, first one to make a stop.
4, Brandon Frisch.
8-man line there. Brandon Frisch was untouched as he made the tackle.
Third down.
Green, 24 carries, 123 yards rushing. Less than 7 minutes to go. Third, and call it 6. Ball inside the 20-yard line. And here is Staines back to pass. Has a receiver, Rosado, up near the 30, and he will have it up for the first down. Gain of 12 as Whitney Epps, the quarterback, freshman from Hamden, Connecticut, there to make the stop. And not until...
It's a blitz right here, and number 24, the fullback, Brian Cornell, picks up the blitz. It's man-to-man coverage. Huge cushion by Whitney Epps, and that's enough for a first down. Blitz is picked up cleanly, one-on-one coverage, big cushion. Staines does a smart thing, just make sure he gets the first down by throwing a nice, easy pass to catch.
Staines 4 of 7 now, 51 yards and a touchdown since entering the ball game here in the fourth quarter. This time to give the Green. Big hole off the right side. Gain of about 5 as before Kevin McCabe, the backup linebacker from Eastchester, New York, there to make the stop.
Stop by number 48.
And this is not what Iona need. They need to get the ball back, and Duquesne, exactly what they want to do is run out that clock.
Big drive for both teams, as you just said, Jerry. Here's a situation where if Duquesne can get close enough for a field goal, they give themselves the opportunity to go up by 7 and force a touchdown, obviously, just to get to the tie ball game or a 2-point conversion.
Second and 5, Dukes. Staines, play action, scrambling on that bad foot, throws the ball upfield, has his receiver, that is Cornell, and Cornell cuts over the 50, has blockers, 45, 40, still on his feet, and Cornell has one man to beat, and can you believe it, Vinny Santalia, a defensive lineman, runs Cornell down. Not only is he a defensive lineman, he is a defensive lineman with one leg. And look at Santalia. Now, you think he wouldn't be on the All-Madden team?
Oh, he's there. He is first-team defensive end on that team. Great job, though, by Cornell. Let's talk about him first. First thing he does great is when he catches the ball, he doesn't take the easy route out of bounds. He cuts it back once, cuts it back again, and now there's Santalia blocked. The key thing about great players, watch him. He's still going to keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Make the tackle. Great players can get blocked. They just don't stay blocked.
They have great players and great heart. Vinny Santalia, senior out of Yonkers, New York, 42-yard gain. Once again, they give the ball to Green. He is inside the 20-yard line. Whitney Epps, the cornerback, coming up to make the stop.
Jerry, ever since, I hate to keep going back to it, but ever since the bad snap in the end zone, the safety, it's been all Duquesne. Look at the cutback by Cornell. Good runners, great runners, instinctual runners always cut back against the grain. And that's why Cornell picked up so many extra yards here. Keeps whirling, and it's only the great effort by Santalia that keeps him out of the end zone.
Santalia, who could barely walk off the field about 4 or 5 plays ago with that sprained ankle, able to make the play there. Give to Green, and he is hit in the backfield. Good effort by Mike Elfridge, sophomore defensive end out of Harrison, New York.
Now, there's no mystery here. Duquesne's been in their double tight I formation. They just want to run the football, although they're changing the personnel at this point. But Mike Elfridge did a nice job recognizing what they were going to do and making the tackle.
We're inside of 4 minutes remaining here in this football game. 2 games remain here in the MAC Conference Football League for 1994. Both these teams having 2 games after tonight. Battling for 3rd place. 3 wide receivers for Duquesne. Single setback.
Man-to-man coverage.
And a fade to the end zone. Oh, what heck of football. Mark Neely, and Neely is a sure-handed receiver. Leading receiver for the Dukes. Cannot quite hang on.
I'm really surprised Neely didn't pull that in. They had man-to-man coverage. Great job of recognition by Brian Staines. It was a sight adjustment, bump and run coverage the whole way. And that is a ball that Mark Neely will catch 9 out of 10 times. See the end of the play, right through the wickets.
And that'll bring up a 4th down situation, and Chris Bergman will come on. He is 4 for 12 in field goals this year. A 36-yard attempt by the junior from McMurray, Pennsylvania. Left hash mark. And they cannot handle the snap. And Nithman is going to throw it and nearly completes the pass to Gribble.
Whitney Epps did a nice job cutting in front there.
Was the block there?
But let's talk about that for a second. That's a huge, huge play in this football game. We know Iona needs a touchdown to win the football game, but at this point, if they get that touchdown, it's all over. Had they kicked the field goal, they would have had to make a 1 versus 2 point decision. Good snap, just not handled by Nithman.
Nithman scrambling back here, being pursued, and nearly gets the ball complete up to Gribble. Now, Gribble would have caught that ball and fallen. He would have not had the 1st down. Prudian back to pass, looking upfield, has a receiver and throws it behind Spezio. Eric Spezio, the freshman out of Staten Island, up near the 25-yard line.
Well, we're going to get a chance to watch thunder and lightning in this offense now. They're going no huddle. It'll be mostly Prudian calling his own plays, and the first thing he's got to do is just start to move the chains. Plenty of time with 3 minutes and 16 seconds left.
4 wide receivers, single setback. Rich McCullough, Prudian pumps once, has a receiver downfield, will tuck it and run down 20-yard line, cuts it back, has a wall of blockers, and up near the 25 as Rich McCullough gets a block for him. Bill Steffich, the cornerback, fights off the block to make the tackle.
Steffich did a nice job making the tackle, and I'll tell you also, Mike Civitella, the free safety, came over top right here when he wanted to go deep. He forced them to bring the ball down, and now the scramble. He'll cut back against the green, and Steffich will fight off a block to make the tackle.
Big play, 3rd and 3 for Iona. Less than 3 minutes to go, and the pass cannot be handled by Spezio. Oh, my goodness, that would have been enough for the 1st down, and Ken Smith, the linebacker, on the coverage. And Iona has no choice but to go for it on 4th down with less than 2.5 minutes to go in this football game.
Nice job in coverage by Kenny Smith. He's one of their captains. He's a transfer from St. Francis, and he needs only 27 tackles coming into this game to become the leading all-time career tackler here. They're going to go trips to the field. 3 wide receivers to the field. Prudian's calling the play at the line.
2 minutes, 35 seconds remain. 4th down, 3 to go. Prudian scrambling, has the receiver, has the reception, and the first down up on the 39-yard line. And Dan Green gains 14 yards with that catch and will keep the Iona drive and their hopes alive.
Green's the inside man of 3, and Prudian knew the whole time who he wanted. He waited for him to clear the linebacker, delivered the ball on time, on the money, 1st and 10.
Dan Green, the possession receiver, they go to. He picked up the first down. Prudian now has the receiver open downfield and overthrows Silo. And Damon Berry brings it back to the 45, to the 50-yard line. And Rich McCullough will make the tackle, but the second turnover of the evening by Iona stalls the drive and may just have snuffed their hopes out here tonight. We'll be back with more from Art Rooney Field in just a moment. In Pittsburgh on a Halloween night here on ESPN2, this is the key turnover that has possibly cost Iona a shot at the football game.
Just a bad pass. He threw it over the head of the intended receiver, right into the hands of free safety Damon Barry.
And now Duquesne will simply try to run out the last 2 minutes and 8 seconds of this game. Handoff to Green. Gains about 3.5. And we would expect Iona to use their timeouts, and indeed they do.
Keep in mind now, they have the full complement of timeouts left prior to that play. So they can stop the clock 3 consecutive plays as long as they keep it from the first down.
Tonight, Tom Prudian, 195 yards. He's been averaging over 335. 21 of 41, 195. And that interception a moment ago on what would have been their drive to try to take the lead here with less than 2 minutes to go.
And we ought to give some credit to some of the defensive coaches also from Duquesne, led by defensive back coach Tommy Flynn. Tom Flynn played college football here at University of Pittsburgh, was a 5th-round pick of the Green Bay Packers, and in his rookie year with the Packers, led the NFL in interceptions. I believe he was also the Sporting News Rookie of the Year that year.
And he played in the Giants Super Bowl team back in '86.
That's right. And Tommy Flynn was one of those guys who wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but he got to the football first every time. He understood the game of football, and you can see he's taught his kids the same way.
And Dave Ofar, the defensive line coach, what a job the Duquesne defense has done to put pressure on
That's right.
Tommy Prudian.
And Ofar was a college teammate of Greg Gattuso.
Right, he was a defensive tackle on the '82 Penn State National Championship team. So a nice job by the Duquesne coaching staff. And there is Greg Gattuso, 32-year-old head coach in his second year, looking to take his team, improve their record to 5-3 overall.
And stay in the thick of that MAC race. 2
games remaining at St. John's and at Canisius. This is their 5th and final home game of the 1994 season. 2nd and 8. Rosado, the motion man, top of the field. Again, once again, the Green left side, and he is tackled at the line of scrimmage by John Calandros.
Calandros has done a nice job being active tonight.
And once again, they'll have time out on the field, so we'll take it with them. It's time running out here, less than 2 minutes to go. Back with more from Duquesne after this. The smiling faces of the Duquesne Dukes football team. And they are a minute and 57 seconds away from getting a victory on national television here on Halloween night.
Well, this has been fun, Jerry. I like seeing football at this level. It's where the kids want to play, the coaches want to coach, and there's no hidden agendas. Nobody cares about the NFL or the pros. You're here to play football and go to school, more importantly.
Great academics. Very good college football. Take a look at the yardage here in this half. Iona less than 100 yards. The little pass, flare pass to Bill Green. And once again, we'll get a timeout from Iona.
That's a good job by Iona's defense. 3 plays, they used all 3 timeouts. But look how much time's left, Jerry. With that run and shoot offense, minute 48, that's an eternity.
Indeed, a minute and 48, but lots of college football left to play. Bill Green, happy 21st birthday, and boy, what a night he has had here playing on his home field for the last time this season. Lots of college football to come your way this week. Thursday night, I will be in Louisville, Kentucky, along with Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried. We're bringing you Boston College. The Eagles take on the Louisville Cardinals. Out Howard Stellenberger's team, and boy, they have turned that program around. Stellenberger, after a couple of tough losses early in the year, has got that team back on track. That should be a whale of a football game. That's coming up at 7:56 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday night. That is from Louisville, Kentucky. BC at Louisville.
Go Eagles.
A little partial are you there, Michael?
You know, while we're on the birthday discussion, which we saw a minute ago, left guard Thomas Feliciano from Iona, his dad's birthday is today. So, Tom Sr., happy birthday.
Feliciano. Back to kick. And Silo signals the fair catch, and the ball will go in the end zone, and it'll be brought to the 20-yard line. So now the Iona offense will have one final shot, possibly with 1:39 to go, to see if Tom Prudien, the young man who coming into this game was ranked 3rd in total offense nationally in 1AA behind Steve Air McNair and Dave Dickinson out of Montana. Both who had big days yesterday or Saturday in college football. What a day McNair had. 563 yards passing. Dickinson had over 500 passing. And now Prudien has to march his team 80 yards in less than a minute and a half. And he tucks it up and takes a heck of a lick. Joe Neckerman just laid a licking on Prudien, and he gallantly gets up.
Neckerman wasn't even supposed to play. He's had a hip flexor problem, and yet he's in the game. Good hit.
And the officials call timeout as Prudien gingerly walks toward the sideline.
Prudien does a good job once again recognizing he doesn't have anything, but watch the good hit by Neckerman right here. Hello. Now we've got a situation. There are no timeouts left, so he can't go out. Prudien can't go out, or they have to take him out. Looks like Dan Charavel, he's the only other person on the roster that's thrown a pass this year. He's not even listed as a quarterback generally, but he is the only other person that's had a pass on the roster this year.
Jason Lamont-Aline is listed as the backup quarterback, and Charavel is a senior wide receiver. He is back to pass. And tries to get it up to Spezio. And here is Prudien that comes hobbling back in the football game.
Yeah, they need Prudien in this situation. The good thing about a run-and-shoot offense in the last 2 minutes of a game or a half is obvious. You're used to going without a huddle. You're used to lining up and playing. You're used to all the things that most teams are not used to. So there's an advantage to being a run-and-shoot in this situation.
Got a feel for Harold Crocker. That was Crocker. This is Gattuso, the two opposing coaches. And there is Tom Prudien. Very gallant young man trying to... He pumps once, has a receiver, and he has his man downfield, and he fumbles the football. Reception, and wants to wait for the call. Looks like Anthony Porcaro was the receiver. Caught the ball, turned, and fumbled it, and now it looks like Duquesne will recover.
Wow.
Oh, my.
That was a huge play. Anthony Porcaro makes the catch against the 2-deep zone. But he's got to put the football away. 2-deep zone, the corner's running underneath him. Porcaro makes a great catch. But he's hit right there by one of the safeties. The ball comes loose. And it looks like number 30. That's right, Kenny Smith, outside linebacker. Another angle. That's really an excellent catch. But you've got to hold on to the football in that situation. And Kenny Smith, their big play outside linebacker, does what he's supposed to. Good hustle to the football.
Kenny Smith, boy, what a night he's had here for Duquesne as they will snap the ball maybe once, twice more. One knee down, and Ryan Staines.
Now, you see, remember at the end of the first half, the freshman quarterback took the hit. And I told you, the veteran wouldn't do that.
No way.
Take the knee, hand it to the ref, and say thank you.
Well, I just snap it one more time. The ball put in play with 38 seconds on the game clock, the 25-second clock. They'll have to snap it at least once more, and this game is in the books. Good football game. History in the making here on the Bluff tonight. Halloween night on the campus of Duquesne University. The MAC Conference initial national telecast on ESPN2. Glad to have you with us. As they snap the ball, and that will do it. And Ryan Staines and Duquesne's Dukes prevail here. Greg DeTuso walks across, and the clock ticks down, and Duquesne will take a 4-point win over the Gales of Iona and sole possession of third place in the MAC Football League.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, for Mike Mayock, I'm Jerry Punch, congratulating the Dukes of Duquesne and head coach Greg DeTuso on their win. Our final score here at Art Rooney Field, the Dukes 16, Iona 12. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget, coming up Thursday night, exciting CFA action from Louisville. So long, everyone.